Host John Kincade and Andrew Salciunas. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
You have got to be kidding me, Philadelphia. Did we really just have the day that it felt like we had yesterday?
Oh, my gosh.
The Philadelphia 76ers just became instant contenders. The Eastern Conference has completely changed, and it is because of one of the most shocking moves that you will ever see a team in this city make. Jaylen Brown for Paul George, 2 firsts and 2 seconds. I don't even know where to begin to talk about the upside of this trade. John, this is a miracle. There is no other way to describe it. A miraculous effort by Mike Yancey, Bob Myers, and the rest of the Sixers front office to pull off a trade of a player that not only people said could be unmovable in Paul George, but for a bona fide superstar from your biggest rival? This is flat out insanity, and the Sixers have just turned themselves completely around with a single move.
You look at a tweet, a text, whatever, when I got the word from you guys on the group text that happened, I immediately start checking and saying, that can't be a legitimate tweet. That can't be real because it doesn't seem real. Any proposed trade I had seen for Jaylen Brown was better than that one. So in other words, all the proposed trades that we saw weren't real. None of them were real. Because there's no way that Brad Stevens, one of the best executives in the NBA by his track record, there's no way he took that deal if any of those other proposed deals were on the table. So that's for another time. Why the deal, why it was this cheap. But for the Philadelphia 76ers and their fan base, this is earth-shattering. And I remember the day that Moses Malone became a Sixer. I'm old enough to remember that day. And I can tell you, it is just as jarring to me to go, holy gosh, a player that you don't think you can get, the caliber kind of player that you think you have to lose for 4 straight seasons to get, you got.
The difference between this, and I saw other people mentioning the Moses trade yesterday when this came down, like the shock value of Jaylen Brown, the Celtics trading Jaylen Brown to the Sixers. I mean, you should hear some of this stuff, and we're going to play it for you, the reaction from up in Boston and around the NBA
awesome.
to this. The Sixers, by all accounts, fleecing the Boston Celtics. But the difference is that team that added Moses Malone back in the day, they were they were close. They were like a player away, and you needed to add somebody to get you over the hump.
What you can't grasp is that the Phillies had a stretch of time where the Phillies kept winning the division and then getting knocked out in the playoffs. They went and got Pete Rose, and Pete Rose put them over the top. They won a championship. For Sixers fans, they'd been to the finals in 80, been to the finals in 81, been to the finals in 82, and hadn't won. And it was like, come on. Let's get something done. And then Moses Malone gets traded. That was their Pete Rose move. This move is that kind of move, Connor, that I don't know that I would say says you're playing for a championship next year, but you're damn close to being it. You're very much in the discussion.
This move is bigger than those.
Why is it bigger?
Because this move is easily bigger than those moves. You had teams that were on the brink of finding their way to glory that added a piece that put them over the top. This was a team that was stuck in no man's land. And when we looked at it, they were locked in. Just yesterday, we had a conversation where I talked to Flyers and Sixers fans, and I said, hey, Flyers fans, your team is choosing to sit this out because they don't believe they're close enough to make a big move. Sixers fans are the ones who should be mad because the contracts they have restricted them from making some of the big moves that you've seen around the NBA. Well, they weren't restricted. Not with Mike Yancey and Bob Myers working the phones. They moved the contract that seemed locked in for the next couple of years. They have another one in Joel Embiid that's still on the books. We'll worry about that another day. Today's not the day to break down the Joel Embiid contract. Today. But this was a team that was stuck not on the verge of winning a championship. They were stuck on the verge of a rebuild, of what in the world do you do to make this work? Are we waiting 3 years locked up in the idea of a 7-8 seed team trying to balance a build for the current time versus preparing for the future and hoping you're ready if and when that day comes? There is no if and when. Philadelphia, the day came yesterday. 3 years ahead of schedule, the Philadelphia 76ers in one fell swoop have just changed the way you look at them, the league looks at them, and it is an ultimate game-changing move for what this team can accomplish, not 2-3 years down the line when contracts fall off. This year, the immediacy. It is an insane turnaround for this team. Again, Jaylen Brown being traded by the Boston Celtics for Paul George, 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Now, to get everything out on the table so you're aware of the terms of the deal, because there was a lot of discourse over this as the deal came out. The first reaction was, did I just get NBA sentinel? Is this real?
The first reaction to me was, I don't care. Like, when I saw the deal, it's like, I don't even care about. When I saw a couple first-round picks and everything, the way the NBA is, I'm like, I sort of don't care. Because I know Jaylen Brown's fine.
Yeah.
And I know the young core that they have is fine. I don't really give a flip, but it is important to know what they gave up.
So 2 firsts. We don't care about the 2 second-round picks. The second-round picks in the NBA do not matter. 2 firsts. The 2028 pick, this was the one where there was a lot of discourse on because people thought that the Sixers made this deal without including the incredibly valuable Los Angeles Clippers pick in 2028. That could potentially be in the deal depending where it falls. They're going to get the better of either the Sixers first-round pick in 2028 or the Clippers first-round pick in 2028.
And it most likely will be.
It most likely is going to be the Clippers.
Most likely the Clipper pick will go to the Lakers.
The second first-round pick is in 2031. It is the Sixers' unprotected first, so no matter where that falls, that will go to Boston. So just for clarity's sake. Now, I tweeted out yesterday in reaction to this, take all the picks. I do not care. You could have traded every pick for the next 5 years to make this deal because the Sixers were so locked into a place where they could never contend with the contracts of Paul George and Joel Embiid existing together that this got you out of jail. This is your monopoly get out of jail free card.
Correct.
The problem is that's a board game. This is real life. You do not get those in real life where you are locked into the consequences of your actions and all of a sudden some angel investor comes in and says, I got you. Well, guess what? Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics very much feel like an angel investor to the Philadelphia 76ers this morning.
Well, it's going to be it's going to be difficult for anybody to find any kind of negatives on this because there is none. There is none. You're just trying to be negative if you don't like this move for the Sixers. If you're a Sixers fan and you're trying to find some negative in it, yes, Jaylen Brown, and people will come with, Jaylen Brown's a bit of an ass. He has a reputation of being, he's not a great teammate. The Boston Celtics people didn't enjoy him much. They wanted to get rid of him. We have another player here who we loved in this town, who we just shipped to Boston in A.J. Brown, who was a bit of a problem, and there were people that had issues with him, and they traded one Brown for another between the two cities. Look, there's no downside for the Sixers. I would rather take any baggage that Jaylen Brown potentially has than have to sit around waiting to watch the Joel Embiid, Paul George thing just die on the vine.
Yeah.
This is, right now you have energy. The Sixers ticket office today, I promise you, and Austin has worked in that business in professional sports.
Already texted my buddy that's still down there.
And I guarantee you, they had a coverage call last night saying, we need extra people in this morning. They're going to be flooded with phone calls.
Oh yeah, he was already scanning the chat for people that are interested in tickets. He was already taking phone calls.
I guarantee it.
They're going to be down there cashing some check, boys.
It's going to be a big day today.
Yeah, and we're going to talk to you all about it. The phone line, text line, voice memos open for your reaction. I'd love to hear your voice memos of what happened with you when you saw that news. 610-632-0975 is the all-encompassing number to get in. Now, I want you to hear this because this is very important. Because you brought up questions about, did they love Jaylen Brown up there in Boston?
And they did.
And the way that this happened. Because when you see a deal like this, the thought in your mind could be too good to be true. Why are you giving me this asset at this price? Why is this player being traded for a return that everybody around basketball is saying is nowhere near meeting the value of that player? Could it be that this was a situation where Jaylen Brown had just grown tired of the Boston Celtics organization? That was a thought process for people up in Boston because his name was one that was heavily included in their pursuit of Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you believe that, well, Shams was on SportsCenter last night, and he was talking about the genesis of this trade to the Sixers. Jaylen Brown never wanted out.
For the Celtics, where this had come down to is they tried to trade for Giannis. They offered Jaylen Brown and 2 unprotected first-round picks for Giannis. They missed out. But ever since then, you know what's been interesting? They didn't just stop the conversations there. They continued to have trade talks. And by today, they were actively full-blown shopping Jaylen Brown around the league, trying to get teams his best offers in. My understanding is Jaylen Brown, throughout all of this, never requested a trade. He never asked out of Boston. This was all the Celtics. We'll learn more. This is obviously a very developing story, but Jaylen Brown is leaving the Boston Celtics. He will now be in Kevin Nagandi's with their 76ers.
I love that. And Kevin Nagandi's face.
Kevin's joy. the joy in Kevin's face was absolutely like hilarious.
Yeah.
He got caught so off guard with this deal, and the smirk, the sort of Philly smirk on his face was just like, this is awesome.
I think that was everybody's reaction yesterday when that news came down here in Philadelphia. So here's what I would expect. Like when we get the full story of what happened. And it's a stupid move by Boston, and we took full advantage here in Philadelphia.
I want to hear your theory on this. Is about, like, what do you think is the story?
They did not like how Jaylen Brown handled the end of this past season. They don't know about putting Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum together. That's something that's been underlying there as the season ended. So the Philadelphia 76ers coming back and beating them in Game 7 might have led to this being an available trade. They try to move him for Giannis as part of that deal. They do not get it done, and Giannis goes to the Heat. But the cat is now out of the bag. And you've already said, by being willing to include him in that trade, yeah, we're kind of done with you.
Yeah, we're pretty much finished.
And we're
pretty much finished with you.
The same bear trap that the Philadelphia 76ers had forced themselves into. What was the conversation about Paul George and Joel Embiid and trying to move those contracts?
That they were immovable. There was pretty much everybody said that it was an immovable. That George would be the easier contract to move. Amy had told us,
right,
and Amy will join us later also, that Amy had said, from what she had heard from people around, the people she was talking to, the George contract was much more movable.
But the reason why it was difficult to move those were there weren't that many movable max contract players that made the money work. We were talking about like Domantas Sabonis and guys like that who, sure, they're names you might know, but we're not talking high quality level players. I think Boston misevaluated the market of who could make the money work for Jaylen Brown. And they look around. You heard Shams talking about it. Fielding best offers.
So okay, I got you. So why not keep him?
Because they had already let the cat out of the bag with the Giannis trade. They felt that they had already gone too far to want him.
But the player didn't care.
The player didn't care, but they did. They were like, we're done with this. He might have been willing to stay, but they were over it. And because of that, they put themselves in a bad market that left them at the table with one true suitor. And that is your Philadelphia 76ers.
So you look at it as, to me, now this is just me. So, I mean, a lot of people may disagree. If the player themselves doesn't care, I don't care. If I know that the player doesn't care, and from all reports, he's not the most popular guy.
Yeah.
But he is not also a complete pariah. He's not a guy. It's almost like the A.J. Brown situation, except he's a little less popular than A.J. Brown. He's not as a teammate, it's not like everybody's like, get him the hell out of here. He's a jerk, you know.
Right, but the organization was done with him. They were pot committed to moving him.
See, I think that's so stupid, Connor.
I
can't
what I said.
believe
it's
it
dumb.
to me that they wouldn't say, you know what, we have to rethink this.
Well, they didn't. And now, no takesy-backsy, Boston. He's ours. You cannot reverse this. There's no redos. Jaylen Brown is a Philadelphia 76er.
That's wild.
Now your starting five for the Philadelphia 76ers will be Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, Dean Wade, Joel Embiid. I mean, take the Dean Wade equation out of it because I know we had discourse about him yesterday.
No, but why take it out of it? Because now I think Dean Wade is even more potentially valuable.
Yeah, because you don't need scoring.
Correct.
Right.
Now he's even, to me, I look at the Dean Wade move and I go, I like it even more this morning.
But you didn't really need him to score even with, like, if this had been the Paul George Sixers. So I'm just saying.
I get you. But to me, it's like I look at it and say, I like that move even better today. Because now I don't need this dude. I don't need this dude to do anything.
You should like every move the Sixers have made better today. I woke up from a nap yesterday afternoon about 30 minutes before the trade broke down. And I went on social media because of NBA and NHL free agency and everything going on.
And
I'm
you're
like,
thinking,
what's happening?
What's going on?
The number one discourse I saw was Kelly Oubre signing with the Pacers and Quentin Grimes signing with the Lakers. And people like talking about how the Sixers didn't bring him back or shouldn't have brought one or didn't bring the other. We were arguing over those guys. And then just a handful of minutes later, it was like, I don't remotely care. All due respect to Kelly Oubre and Quentin Grimes. You just got a superstar player. It makes everything else seem irrelevant because when you have Maxey, Edgecombe, Brown, Embiid, that is one of the best. We're not talking big three and just making the max contracts work. That is one of the best, like, top 4 player groupings in the Eastern Conference and in the National Basketball Association as we wake up this morning.
How I honestly would say to you is, how did it happen? I woke up this morning and was like, again, and I said it, and poor Austin's at the game last night, and we didn't even get into that. We'll talk about that down
Told you
the
not
line.
to go to that one.
And
It was a good game.
And I say, how did it happen? And to me, I'm looking at this today saying, how are we here? The Sixers went from, there was going to be no talk of the Sixers being relevant. Yesterday, we talked about it with Jacob Moreno. Could the Sixers end up being a top 4 team? No, they could not. There's no way. To now, we're going to talk about the Sixers potentially pushing for the top spot in the Eastern Conference.
Insane.
It is.
This never happens.
It doesn't happen, but it really doesn't happen in sports.
No, this is
It's
Luka
truly
Doncic
crazy.
light.
Yes, I agree.
It's not quite to that level, but this is Luka Doncic
Okay,
light.
I'm going to tell you right now that I look at it and say, this trade is worse than the Luka trade.
I don't know.
I got to tell you, I
don't think I could go that far.
I think it's worse. I
could see it in a way because this is like bitter rivals. This
Yes,
is,
I mean,
you know,
yeah.
back in the day, guys were punching each other back in the 80s. Charles Barkley's holding Larry Bird back and what have you. And then what just happened, like the 76ers just reverse sweep the Boston Celtics, and then they traded arguably, at this point in time, their best player to their rival.
Yeah,
it's just unheard of.
I think
we'll get into all
this is, but I think it's worse.
We'll get into all this as the show continues. Clearly, plenty to break down with this one. The question for you today, too, if you need a question, we'll take your reaction just in
Yeah, I
general.
think
to this
people are
huge
just going
news.
to be going nuts all day.
But Sixers fans, how back are you? How back in on this team are you? 610-632-0975. Oh, let's get the song. Why not?
Can we say one thing though? I want everybody, and I really do mean this, because we talked about it during the NBA Finals, and we talked about it during the playoffs. If you were a Philadelphian and you're a Nova Knicks person, with all due respect, kiss my ass.
I'm
this
not
morning.
even thinking about them
No,
today.
but I am though.
I don't even care about them today.
No. Here's what I'm saying is, I don't want you.
I don't care.
No, I don't want you. That's
I'm not-
fine. You don't have to. I do.
Why are we talking about Nova Knicks fans right now? I don't even think about the New York Knicks right now.
I don't want Sixers fans that were rooting for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Now this morning going, I'm a big Sixers fan. I don't care. I don't care
that's their
how. I got
prerogative.
it. You can have that feeling.
Can't we just have fun today?
No,
Why do we have
it
to
is
go
fun.
after, like, I don't care about them.
I don't want the people who
leave-
I don't want the people who bailed out.
Just to leave them where they are.
No,
We've got Jaylen Brown.
Connor, you can. I don't want to. I don't want the
Okay,
people who bailed out on this team enjoying the joy today.
We'll handle that later.
No, you can handle it later.
all right.
I'm going to handle it any way I want to handle
I'd like
it.
to handle Jaylen Brown.
You
today.
can, and we're going
Pause.
to handle Jaylen Brown
Pause.
today. But the Sixers, the people in this town who bailed on this team 2 weeks ago, rooting for a New York team, kiss my ass today. Go. Get
All right,
lost.
Ben, now we've got some rapid fire stuff to get to as well because it was a huge day. All right, so real quick, couple of other topics about the 10, 15 seconds on each of these. The Phillies, they hung 8 on Paul Skeens last night.
Unbelievable.
This team's legit. Flyers, couple of big deals. Tyson Forster, an 8-year contract, $7.1 million annual value. Dan Vladar, a 5-year deal, the extension we all knew was coming. Team USA advancing last night, despite a BS red card in the round of 32, taking down Bosnia 2-0.
This is crazy.
We got a lot of big storylines. It's going to be heavy Sixers, but a lot of stuff to get into. It was a monster day for Philadelphia, for the country, for the sports scene in general. And if you think the Jaylen Brown news is as big as it gets, ladies and gentlemen, there's more.
Oh, jeez.
We'll tell you about what else popped up with the Philadelphia 76ers yesterday. It's Kincade Salciunas back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jaylen Brown, come on down. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The 76ers traded Finals MVP Jaylen Brown from the rival Celtics yesterday. Per ESPN Shams Charania, the Sixers traded Paul George, 2 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks for the All-Pro wing. Here's Shams Charania on the deal.
Mike Gansey, the Sixers' new president, just stuck around for the party, waiting for that price to continue to drop and deplete. He didn't make the Irish goodbye like some other teams did.
Mike Gansey hung in there, and Tony Jones from The Athletic is going to join us at 9:05 to give us more reaction. The Flyers signed Dan Vladar and Tyson Forster, both the long-term contract extensions, tying them to Philly for the long term. The team does have a scrimmage today that's going to be open to the public starting at 6 p.m. In Voorhees, down at Citizens Bank Park, the Phillies jumped on Paul Skeens for 7 earned runs. Overall, Trey Turner, Brandon Marsh, and Alec Boehm all went deep in the game for a Phillies win. Today, Alan Rangel is going to be on the mound versus Jerry Jones, with first pitch being at 12:35. And in the World Cup, the U.S. defeated Bosnia yesterday 2-0, and now we'll face Belgium in Seattle Monday night, with the match beginning at 8 p.m. I'm Austin Jones in the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Is presented by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White, they're here for the pro.
You know what feels weird? Like, it feels greedy what we're going to do in this segment. Because greedy. But I'm feeling greedy today. I'm feeling like I want some excess in my basketball life. And
well, you haven't had any. In your whole basketball life, you haven't had any.
we've had excess, just sometimes spent poorly.
No, you've had
by
no,
the
you've had no,
Philadelphia
you had
76ers.
no excess. Every one of you guys I work with, you've had no excess. You deserve it. You deserve some excess. You deserve that whole thing.
Well, just Jaylen Brown alone should be enough for Philadelphia 76ers fans to be going wild today. Jaylen Brown being traded for from the Boston Celtics to the Sixers, getting out from under the Paul George contract almost feels like a footnote of this deal because of who you got in return. We were talking about dumping him for a max contract player somewhere that was on the outs with a team that was not going to help you win and giving up picks just to potentially get out from under this contract, hurting your future just to get some chance of getting out of NBA purgatory. Instead, they get back one of the, top 10 players in the sport at a position of need.
I think it's fair, yes. He's absolutely a top 10 player in the NBA.
You cannot make it up.
And if you're thinking, too, top 10 player in the NBA, and you're adding him to Tyrese Maxey, who started an all-star game, and VJ Edgecombe, who hasn't even begun to scratch the surface of what he may end up being.
And Joel Embiid, who is a former MVP, who when he's healthy and on the floor, which is always going to be part of the conversation.
The when, you
but
can.
I mean, now he becomes just on the fringe a little bit for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, if you're talking about going to the – if you're talking about this team, if anyone says this team's going to the finals or has a chance to go to the finals – then he can't be on the fringe.
No. You'll need him.
He has to be a major part of you.
But I'm saying if you built a team right now from scratch and your first three pieces were Edgecombe, Maxey, Jaylen Brown, that's a playoff team.
Oh no, that's a playoff team. That's potentially a top 4 Eastern Conference team.
Tyrese Maxey is better than any player prior to Jason Tatum coming back from injury that Jaylen Brown played with on the Celtics last year. And they had second seed position in the Eastern Conference. Like, it's insane.
Truly, it is, the whole thing is insane. I've never seen a Philadelphia team go from irrelevance to relevance this fast.
Yes. And they were the most irrelevant. Now, the Sixers were never completely irrelevant because they had talent.
No, because they had talent, but the Sixers were irrelevant if you were talking about competing for an Eastern Conference championship. We said yesterday on the show, could the Sixers be a top 4 team? Well, they can be a lot better, but no.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even us. It was majority of people around here. We were all saying, they could if they're healthy, but
they're not going to be a top 4 team.
Right, maybe at worst like 5-6 seed play in, depending on health. And now we're sitting here talking, get me to the finals.
Which is truly incredible. And as I say, for all of you, and I say kids because you guys are old enough to be my kids, I would say for you kids, I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. I'm happy for the young Sixers fans because this is truly one of those moments where you go, okay, this could really, really be the moment. This could really be the time that we see this happen.
Yeah, and when I see moves like this, surprising, shocking moves that really elevate the ceiling of the teams in this city, or incredible wins that evoke this emotion out of you in a positive way. One of my takeaways is always, this is why you should never give up every percentage of belief, right? This is why you should hold out hope that there are better days coming, that there is a way out of dark times in Philadelphia sports. I can't even say that today because this deal should not have happened.
No.
Like, from the Boston Celtics perspective, you should not have had hope as a Sixers fan that this was even possible. This is not a you should dream your dream because anything can happen. This is it shouldn't have happened. It did anyway. What a boon we found. What just a windfall you found yesterday afternoon as a Philadelphia 76ers fan. Do we have an even bigger one coming? All of that setting up to a potentially bigger move. You might be like, well, how in the world is
Could you
there
get
anything that's more important than this?
Well, there's nothing more important than this. There's something supplemental to this. There's nothing more important to this. Don't do this.
Good luck convincing that
Don't
this
do
would be
this.
supplemental.
Don't do this. That there's more important than this. There's nothing more important than this. You just got your franchise's key piece. You got the key foundational piece for this franchise, and now you've made Tyrese Maxey a Robin to a Batman-Robin situation.
But for where we sit now in the immediacy for the Philadelphia 76ers, we will shortly have to turn our attention to someone else.
We could.
Yesterday,
Yes.
per Tony Jones, who is going to join us at 9:05. We have a busy day on Kincade Salciunas. The guy whose name is on the show next to John's, Andrew Salciunas, he's going to be joining us via Zoom to start the 7 o'clock hour. No vacation for him. He's going to pop in. He'll be with us for that entire first segment. Amy Fadul at 7:30.
Oof.
Andrew DeCecco will be with us as he is every Thursday from 8 a.m. till the 10 o'clock hour when we hand things over to Middays with Marks. I can't wait to hear what they have to say at 10. And then, like we mentioned, Tony Jones, who has this report, will join us at 9:05.
I want Sean Brace sedated today. He's going to need
He's going to
something.
need to be.
He's
Sean
back on the
Brace.
bus.
They're
He's
re-
back on the bus because Sean was a little down.
Sean was a little down,
and now I know.
but
he's
you know,
up.
he's a manic Sixers fan. He's going to need to be sedated.
And the USA one? Oh,
I'm
man,
telling
he
you.
can't control his emotions today.
No, he's in a glass case of emotions.
It's going to be a fun day here on
It's
the
going to be
Fanatic.
wild.
Do not
Don't turn
go
the dial.
anywhere.
Yeah.
But the report per Tony Jones, the Sixers have reached out and are expressing interest in one LeBron James.
Which is fantastic. Which would just be a cherry on the sundae. It's not the most important.
A pretty damn big cherry.
Yeah, it's not the most important though.
Let me tell you something. Anywhere that LeBron James has gone in his career, a ring has followed. Anywhere. Miami, back to Cleveland, to L.A., every single one of those teams won an NBA Finals.
Well, I would tell you that I'm going to tell you the bubble thing is a joke.
I disagree, but we'll get into that another
I think
day.
the bubble was a joke.
I'll get into that another day.
And since then, I think it's been a huge disappointment, the Lakers. Huge disappointment. His tenure with the Lakers. COVID was a long time ago, boys. The last 5 years has been a huge disappointment in LA.
yeah, and he's in his swan song
And
part
he
of his
has been
career.
a big part of it being a disappointment.
Yeah, and a year later, Giannis and the Bucks won, and we were talking about having Giannis talks, and Giannis apparently hasn't had much playoff success or anything else. But LeBron James comes here, we're going to be running through another brick wall like we were yesterday.
It'd be so exciting to have LeBron here. It'd be so great. But to me, it's putting when I see Jaylen Brown take the court as a Sixer, because I'm saying to myself, like you're talking about the pick swap earlier.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn about the pick swap anymore. Like, I mean, to me, it's okay. Like, I didn't care. Like, when
LA Rams method right now.
Like, I didn't care because to me, I don't think the Sixers would have gotten somebody that would have impacted the franchise as much that could have then joined Maxey and Edgecombe where they're at right now in their careers to impact them as much.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you got. I'm so excited for Sixers fans today. This is and the whole franchise. This is amazing. I can't believe Gansey pulled this off.
No, I can't either. And the thing with
I can't believe it.
The LeBron stuff, it's funny. Just yesterday, one of the topics I sent into you, I
Yes.
emailed you, well, I guess 2 nights ago,
Right.
Was 2 names where I'm like, I don't want to hear it. One was Ben Simmons, because that's been
Right.
reported that he's interested in coming back. Whatever. He doesn't like basketball. The other was LeBron James.
But
because,
now you do want to hear it.
Absolutely.
Yes, because now it makes sense.
Yeah, it didn't yesterday.
Now it
didn't
makes sense.
At like 3 p.m. yesterday, 4 p.m. yesterday. But once that Jaylen Brown trade happens, Well, now all of a sudden the Sixers are an attractive destination. And you talked about Jaylen Brown maybe not being likable up in Boston. And the questions with that.
not a great lead like that, but he's a hell of a talent.
If LeBron's here, you know what that changes? The buyout market has always been a weak spot for the Sixers because guys don't want to come here and play. Guess what? Now the trade deadline and the buyout market are totally different for the Sixers because they become even more of a destination.
Maxey and Edgecombe are enough in the buyout market, I believe, to just say to somebody, the enthusiasm, the youth, the energy they provide, the positivity they provide. I don't care how much of and I'm reading stuff out of Boston today. I get in with my buddy Ted Johnson, who does sports radio in Boston. He's saying the Celtics are better off without him. I'm like, no, Ted, they're not.
No shot.
No, Ted, they're not. And I said to him, the Eagles are not better off without A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
The Eagles as a team, talent-wise, are not better off without him. Now, there are positives to getting off a guy who wants out, a guy who's quit on the team, and that's the same way they feel about Jaylen Brown, that Jaylen Brown's a guy sort of mentally checked out. Okay, you're not better off without him.
Absolutely not. And
talent-wise, you're not better off. You can spin that to somebody else who buys it.
The Sixers are infinitely better off with him.
Much better today.
And that we'll talk to Tony about the realness of that report on LeBron James. Where is the interest level? What are the possibilities? That comes your way in the 9 o'clock hour. But, I mean, if that happens, we're dancing in the streets. I mean, we already are. It's not just for the 4th of July. It is because the Philadelphia 76ers Independence Day happened yesterday. They are now independent of NBA purgatory. They are back in the mix in an Eastern Conference that, hey, while it has gotten stronger, you saw a lot of interesting stuff last year with teams that looked like they could compete. Now, the Knicks ran through it, but today as you wake up, and we'll talk about what's happened in the East so far in free agency and trades and everything this offseason. If you don't think the Sixers have a chance, you're not seeing what's right in front of your face.
Yeah, and you're not feeling you're right now. You're not feeling like the Sixers are up against it.
No, they have every
the Sixers
chance.
are right there. I do want to see though how this roster rounds out.
Yeah,
but the whole LeBron James thing to me is just it's incredibly intriguing. But I'm more interested in, to me it's Jaylen Brown.
So
it's Jaylen Brown being here.
We'll add the LeBron James conversation in as a secondary topic. Do you believe the Sixers need him? I know there's some people who are, maybe they're Jordan people, maybe they're just anti-LeBron, maybe they don't want to see him come in here because it will become like a media circus and they don't want it to take away from the team. I don't know what your reasoning is. You'll have to tell us.
I'd have to hear it.
But some people may believe, hey, Jaylen Brown, we don't need LeBron James. No thanks. We're good.
Okay, so here's what I would say to those people, just quickly, before if anybody gives us that point of view. You're going to tell me who is on the roster that's in the roster spot that LeBron James would be in.
That would be Dean Wade.
Okay. Well, no. Because if LeBron's here, though, LeBron can be on the roster with Dean Wade.
No, I know, but that would be the position he's taking.
No. Whose roster spot is taking? There's somebody. Somebody's going to be. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So to me, nobody can say anything to me that goes, well, you don't want LeBron here. Yes, you do. You freaking want LeBron James here. Under all circumstances.
Yes.
I'm not even a LeBron fan of his stuff. The circus, I'm not. But I am a huge fan of LeBron James and what he's done in his career. Yes, you want him here. Under any circumstances, you want him here.
And you have Jaylen Brown already via the trade that went down yesterday. Again, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and getting out from under that Paul George contract. Mike Yancey, Bob Myers, you guys, man, I love you. I love you so much. And how quickly things change. I know we have a lot of people checking in on the Davis Honda text line today. You can feel the Davis difference at Davis Honda in Burlington. What do we have from the people on just such an exciting day that nobody planned on having?
Yeah, so this is from our guy, Jack, down in Texas. He said, long life Sixers fan, was driving on the highway yesterday when the Brown news broke. Pulled off the highway to then call all my Celtics fans and tell them to eat it, Boston.
I love that. I love that. You had to pull off the road. You couldn't be behind the wheel of a vehicle because you were so excited about that trade that went down. What else do we have, Austin?
Matrix alternate timeline Twilight Zone. This trade doesn't feel real. Why would Boston make that trade to a division rival? Did this actually happen? This is Timmy in Harrisburg.
Timmy!
I thought I was going to wake up this morning and it would be fake.
I swear to you this morning, my first thought when I woke up this morning, because I had played golf yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
And so I woke up and I went, the first thought in my head was, okay, wait a minute. Last day of work and I'm going, okay, this is real. This is real. All that we're going to be talking about today. It happened. This really happened. Because it doesn't make sense. None of it still makes sense today.
No, and all the folks that we're going to talk to
And
throughout
it's
the day.
so much fun.
We're going to ask Amy Fadul. We're going to ask
So
Tony
much fun.
Jones. Like
Andrew?
We're going to ask Andrew. Now, he's not really inside the NBA. We'll get his reaction. Andrew's more on because I want to hear him go crazy. He's held
nuts.
the faith longer than most Sixers fans. But I want to know, that's the question. How in the world did this happen? How did we get
Well, Mike
here?
Gansey, it shows you a new set of eyes.
You mean John Wick?
Yeah, exactly. A new set of eyes on a situation can look at it something and can say, this doesn't happen if Daryl Morey's here. Zero chance that we are sitting here today with this situation. Zero chance that Daryl Morey pulls off this act.
How in the world did we get here? We're going to open up a Twitter poll that's people are going to think is hyperbolic today. But today is a day to be hyperbolic. It's to exaggerate. It's to let that raw emotion out of you. The Philadelphia 76ers are officially back. Man, that feels good to say. It still doesn't feel real. We'll continue the conversation coming up next. We'll also have a quick check-in on the Fightins, who had a nice victory last night. It is Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Salciunas off this week. He will join us via Zoom at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. I'm Connor Thomas. In for him, John Kincade to my left, Austin Jones on the board, Jaylen Brown on the Philadelphia 76ers. That is the most important change in position. Who cares what seats we're sitting in today? I care that he's on a seat on a flight to Philadelphia right now. Well, probably not now. He's probably enjoying his offseason and looking at what he's got now in Philadelphia and saying, man, all right, I can work with Tyrese Maxey. I can work with VJ Edgecombe.
Well, I hope he's just driving down.
Yeah, maybe a flight. Listen, I think he's got some money. He might be able to take a PJ.
It's like 5 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, I'd rather sip champagne on a plane, but that's just
really?
me.
You're going to sip champagne. By the time you're up in the air going to Boston, you're down. I mean, come on now.
However he wants to get here. The big point is he's getting here. Jaylen Brown being traded to the Philadelphia 76ers yesterday afternoon for Paul George, 2 first-round picks, and 2 second-round picks.
It still doesn't make sense. It still doesn't make any sense.
I can't make heads or tails of it from Boston's perspective.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to think about. It's crazy.
It's like a dude walking up to you on the street and giving you a winning lottery ticket and just walking away.
So I was talking to our good friend Brandon Dutz because he was so excited. He wanted to call me at the game, but I couldn't speak. I'm at the Phillies game. I couldn't speak on the phone, right? So I talked to him later that evening, and I was watching ESPN when I got back, so it's around 11 o'clock-ish, and Windhorst is on there. And just some things to remember about the Celtics. After they won the championship, they started to offload contracts because they sold and got a new ownership. So where Windhorst was going is, yes, does this trade necessarily need to happen here and now? Absolutely not. Like, they could have waited in season. They could have waited before training camp, trade deadline, what have you.
Right.
But in a way, the Celtics, again, kind of like Howie Roseman when he traded CJ are saving money on the margins and getting rid of a headache. And they must have just felt like they were destined to just move off of Jaylen Brown, and Mike Gansey stepped right in and took it.
Yeah, so you think that's that they just said, hey, but why would this be the best deal?
Saving money on the margins.
It's not.
None of it makes sense. Paul George contract that's only a year shorter than Jaylen Brown's contract he's currently under. They saved a year, and down the line, it's stupid from all aspects.
All aspects.
I don't get
look,
it.
Here we are, guys. We got some great content. We have a Sixers team that actually has some hope. Man, it's good to be alive.
Yes, it is.
You were, Austin, needing to be sedated last night during the game, and you were at the Phillies game.
I was at the Phillies game, did not sweat everything out of my body because when we sat down in section 102, row 2, seats 3 and 4, that beautiful big old sun was right behind that big old beautiful scoreboard.
Oh,
so
there
we
you
were
go.
not baking. But I'm sitting here watching Paul Skeens, Zach Wheeler, and still I'm like I'm floating while I'm in the stands.
See?
And I just didn't know how to just express my feelings because all I could do was text and look at Twitter and try to pay attention to, Trey Turner hitting bombs to left field or right field.
And your lovely lady did not mind.
No, she was in a good mood.
She did not mind. Okay.
Nope. She was in a good mood. She understood that the Sixers actually had some hope because I got her to be a Sixers fan, which, at times has been tough for us.
Yeah.
She was a little sad to see Kelly Oubre go because I think you know why. But, hey,
Yeah,
she did tell me,
my wife and daughter think he's a beautiful man.
Hey, she did tell me a while back, that Jaylen Brown guy's pretty handsome, too.
He looks great in the Sixers uniform, I'm sure
Slightly
of
mental,
that.
but some women like that.
No, I don't think anybody needs this today. But if you do need a little bit of help, Dr. Avi Donatello is already there for you of Iron Mountain Men's Health. I think Philadelphia is all natural today after the Jaylen Brown trade. But if you need him, check him out at Iron Mountain Men's Health. He brings us the poll of the day. The Twitter poll is very much up. What is our question today?
It's very strong today. Do you believe the Sixers trade for Jaylen Brown is the greatest trade in Philadelphia sports history? Leading the way at 59% no.
Really?
41% yes.
I'm anxious to hear. I hope people responded with their comments when they respond to the poll.
I have a couple in here.
Okay.
You have Steve Carlton as one answer, and then, of course, Moses Malone.
Okay, Steve Carlton. That is before I was in. That's before I attended school.
Yeah, well, we're talking history.
I understand. It's before I attended school. So, nobody even knows that trade.
Apparently that person does. I don't know. Maybe it's one of the older folks
seriously,
on
is
X.
that, what was the other trade?
They said the Moses Malone trade.
Okay, I remember the Moses trade. The Moses trade was wild. Caldwell Jones, if I remember, because the Sixers put in the sheet to that's how they got him. They put in an offer sheet type of thing back in the day, And then the Rockets had to work out the deal because they didn't want to pay Moses. So then they traded him to the Sixers in a deal, so they got something out of the Sixers. They got Caldwell Jones, and they got a first-round pick, maybe? They might not even have gotten a first-round pick.
Yeah, even those trades, though, I imagine at some point there was some conversation being had. I know media was different back then.
Everybody died that day. Everybody.
But I'm just saying, like, that's not one where it's just like, oh, my goodness, out of left field. The Philadelphia 76ers had the longest odds of any team listed on sportsbooks to be Jaylen Brown's next team.
The Sixers had been to the finals 3 times in 5 years before they got Moses. It's totally different.
Yeah.
The Sixers haven't been to they haven't been out of the second round in a quarter of a century. This is completely different. This is bigger than the Moses trade.
And
the Moses trade was amazing. The Moses trade was the free agent signing of Pete Rose. That's what that was. This is bigger.
Yeah, this is something that nobody saw coming besides the guys in the Sixers front office.
Nobody.
It's insane. I can't.
It's so much fun.
It's very hard to fathom how we've gotten here. Now, real quick, not the only story from yesterday. It was a busy day. Now, we're going to be talking mostly about the Philadelphia 76ers completely changing their outlook in one singular move. But the Phillies, we put a test to them yesterday and said, hey, you better go out and get Paul Skeens. You struggled against Jacob Mizorowski in Milwaukee. This is another high-level pitcher. They go out and they hang 8 on him, 7 earned. Another strong offensive night. That Trey Turner getting hot conversation, that's looking like it's even more real today.
No, that the discussion that you brought up yesterday absolutely looks more real. And by the way, I do not need to see Paul Skeens at the All-Star game. He does not deserve to be an All-Star.
Yeah, he's had a rough year.
He is not having an All-Star season. He does not deserve to be an All-Star. If they put him on the All-Star team, they're putting him on the All-Star team because of a name brand that people want to see.
Yeah, we've seen them do that in the past.
He does not deserve to be an All-Star. I think his ERA is like 3.7 now.
Yeah, but he
should not be an All-Star this year.
He's still got incredible stuff and is one of the top pitchers in baseball overall talent-wise. And the Phillies going out and doing what they did. It's the second time this year that they've gotten to Skeens.
I think he is I think people are getting more of a read on him.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely not the kryptonite that he was.
He's got adjustments to make, and
I think he will. And I think he will make adjustments. He's still going to be a very, very good pitcher.
Yes, but that was what we called the final exam for the Philadelphia Phillies month of June yesterday, and they passed with flying colors.
Awesome.
Zach Wheeler, not his best start, got enough done. The bullpen's still shaky a little bit. We'll talk about Wheels.
Yeah, Zach not happy with his manager, and I don't blame him.
We'll get into that a little bit later on in the show, but the Phillies with a nice win. They win today, and they will take 3 out of 4 over the Pirates for another series win. They're rolling right along. The Philadelphia, you got a pretty damn good sports scene right now. And yesterday, there was a team left out. The Sixers just kicked down the door to the party. They might be at the head of the table now after acquiring Jaylen Brown. Coming up next, you can't go anywhere for this. And I implore you, check out the YouTube because you'll be able to see his smiling face. Andrew Salciunas joins us on Zoom to react to the big news. He's had the week off. He should be well rested. Live from down the shore, one of the biggest Sixers fans in this city and in this area will react to one of the biggest trades in the history of the franchise. We have him join us next on his own show here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jaylen Brown, come on down. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. This update's brought to you by Corona. Your shot at the Home Run Derby and MLB All-Star Game ticket starts with Corona at 97.5. Join us All-Star Weekend at City Tap House, Morgan's Pier, and Tailgate Sports Bar. Learn more at 975thefanatic.com. Must be 21 plus and president by Corona. Jaylen Brown has been traded to the 76ers for 2 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks, and Paul George Shamsharanya on the deal.
Mike Gansey, the Sixers' new president, just stuck around for the party, waiting for that price to continue to drop and deplete. He didn't make the Irish goodbye like some other teams did.
Somebody who's going to be joining us shortly is Andrew Salciunas. He will join us on Zoom, and Tony Jones joins us at 9:05. The Flyers signed Dan Vladar and Tyson Forrester, 2 long-term extensions. The Flyers do have a scrimmage over in Voorhees today that starts at 6 p.m. and is open to the public. And the Phillies jumped on Paul Skeens for 7 earned runs, and they went on to win the game today. And Alan Rojo is on the mound versus Jared Jones, with first pitch being at 12:35. This update is brought to you by the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services. If you're caring for an adult with intellectual disability, autism, or developmental disability, you may be eligible for support. Visit dbhids.com/IDS. I'm Austin Jones, at home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
I can't wait. Normally, we set up what we've been getting into, and we preview the guests, and you tell them what they do and where they're from and all of that. That's normal protocol. Not for this next man. I'm Connor Thomas, sitting in Andrew Salciunas' normal seat, but he joins us now via Zoom to react to the huge basketball news yesterday. Play that song for my man as he comes on. Andy, Jaylen Brown is a Philadelphia 76er. What in the world just happened yesterday?
I don't know. I don't think anybody can truly know. I'm guessing Brad Stevens really fell in love with Paul George during that 7-game series where Paul George played really well. And they said, yes, we need to age our roster by 6 years. We need 6 more years of veteran leadership to come here to Boston to get us back to that championship level team. Paul George played well. We can all give him credit.
He played very well.
John, you and I have talked about this numerous times. He never wanted to be here, right? He got the extra year from Daryl Morey when he came to a contract. So that's why he came to Philadelphia. The fact that the Sixers were able to move him, he doesn't go all the way back out west. He just goes up to Boston, and you get a superstar player in return. I'm still confused by it. I had trouble sleeping last night, but it was a good trouble. I enjoyed it.
It is so exciting to think about it, and I thought about it, and I always tell you guys, all you kids, whether it's you and Connor or whether it's Austin and everybody around here, it is an amazing morning because now you guys, I think, can actually believe. I think you can actually believe this morning. And there's a lot more could come.
Because when the season ended against the New York Knicks, I think we all had the same thought of this team will never win with the way this thing's built. I mean, duh, they got swept in the second round of the playoffs. They had no shot. But the beauty of this move is that Jaylen Brown can carry this team. And oh, by the way, he still has Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. We knew that whenever Joel Embiid got hurt with this most recent iteration of the Sixers, Paul George wasn't going to carry them. Paul George was a solid role player that could average 16 for you. And yeah, sure, every once in a while he'd pop off. He hit 9 threes in a game this year, every once in a while. But that was with Joel Embiid. With Embiid out, you guys know how I feel about Tyrese Maxey. I love the guy. He's great. He smiles, and he averages 20-plus points a game. He was an all-star starter. But I thought that his ceiling was not taking this team to some championship-type level. Jaylen Brown's already shown that. Jaylen Brown carried this team, the Boston Celtics, that was supposed to be a 6th or a 7th seed in the Eastern Conference last year. He took them to being one of the top 3 seeds in the Eastern Conference. So, to your point, John, you can believe even if Joel Embiid goes down, and we all kind of know that that's going to happen at some point. But you know that they're not going to be a complete negative when he's out because Jaylen Brown has already shown that he can do it.
I mean, he turned the Boston Celtics into a 2 seed in an Eastern Conference where you had a finals champion that looked dominant in the Knicks, right? So it was an open conference, but I wouldn't call it necessarily a weak one. No player on the Celtics that he played the majority of the season with last year had as good of a year as what Tyrese Maxey put together. I mean, Jason Tatum came back late, but that was essentially Jaylen Brown's team that he willed to the 2nd spot in the Eastern Conference. Now he joins this roster. Where's your bar now for the Sixers, Andy? As we look way ahead to the season, are we thinking finals?
No, because Jaylen Brown, we're still going to have the same conversation about Joel Embiid's health. And as much as Jaylen Brown carried the Boston Celtics last year to a 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, they still got bounced in the first round of the playoffs, right? So I will say, as we always do, if Joel Embiid's healthy, sure. Yeah. But we can't say that year in and year out. We're done with that. That storyline's over. But this is also something toward moving forward. The thing that I loved about the draft for Philon Jr. was it was very much a here and now and also a future selection. We got that with VJ Edgecombe last year, a here and now but also a future selection. Jaylen Brown's 30 years old, right? So you have the here and now, and if Joel Embiid stays healthy, great, awesome. And if he doesn't, you still have multiple years of this iteration of the Sixers roster with Jaylen Brown. And with Jaylen Brown, you can start adding to the team that fits Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and Jaylen Brown. Joel Embiid is now an afterthought. You can't save all of this in one offseason, but this was a pretty freaking good start for Mike Yancey and Bob Myers. And after you see a year and how it plays out, you can start seeing, all right, who else can we add? Can we add another player here? Can we add another player there? Especially when it comes to the big man to try to spell some of those minutes for Embiid.
How much you like the Dean Wade move now? Do you like it more now that you find Jaylen Brown's here? Because to me, I just look at it and say, like, I'm really enjoying this offseason, and I'm actually jealous of what you and Connor and everybody's going to be able to talk about all the time because the Sixers are finally moving back into real relevancy. This is real relevancy.
I mean, the Dean Wade move was nice. I'm surprised we didn't lead the conversation with that today.
Exactly.
If I was in Connor's chair today, that would have been the lead.
Yes.
But it was a nice move. I mean, and it was a nice move.
Good club.
With Jaylen Brown, without Jaylen Brown, they needed a guy that could grab rebounds. They needed a guy that you could say, hey, I don't need you to go out there and score points, right? Like, I'm asking you to grab boards. I'm asking you to play some defense. I'm asking you to be physical down low. And he's a pretty good three-point shooter. It's just, he averages 6 points per game. That's not really his role. So what the Sixers fans that still believed at the end of the Knicks series were saying was you just need to add to the margins. You need to add to the edges of this roster. And that was a good first start before the Jaylen Brown drop happens.
Sure.
It was a good first start. Dean Wade was a nice on-the-edges piece of this team, a guy that could shoot a little bit and a guy that can grab rebounds, as Connor's been asking for years. It's basically like a younger P.J. Tucker, like, just go out there and do one thing. Like, I'm not going to ask you to do much more. I just want you to go out there and grab some boards, and if you hit the occasional
stand in the corner? Is he going to just stand in the corner? I mean, is that sort of what?
Where else would you put him?
Yeah,
Jaylen Brown's going to have the ball in his hands.
I mean, it's honestly, it's what I'm going to. I don't think they're going to need him to do much. That's why I like the Dean Wade move better today than I liked it yesterday, and I liked it yesterday. Like, I liked it better today.
Yeah, he's going to be a part of the puzzle, but it's like a corner piece. You know, those are important.
Sure.
When you build a puzzle, what's the first thing you do? You look for the corners because that's what you need
Smart.
to do. So Dean
It's the only
Wade
thing I
is
could
a
do.
nice He's a nice corner piece to the puzzle. He's just not the actual picture that you're trying to put together that's on the box.
Jaylen Brown's like ranch. You put it on anything and everything tastes better. It's just the best. A great topping for what the Sixers were. Well, they didn't have anything. You just turned a non-meal into a 5-course, 5-star dinner with Jaylen Brown's acquisition. Now, Andy, we're getting a little hyperbolic today because that's just what happens when something like this comes down. And you being significantly older than me by, 10 months?
Yes.
I'm interested in your perspective. Like, can you remember a more shocking trade in the history of Philadelphia sports?
More shocking trade? Jeez. Not really. I mean, like, if I wasn't shocked when the Phillies acquired Hunter Pence, but that day where they get Nnamdi and Hunter Pence in the same day, like, that was unbelievable. Because especially with today's media and the way that everybody's hungry for information, I feel like we always hear rumors. We didn't even hear. Did anyone? I'm sorry, I've been out. I've been on vacation.
No, there was nothing. There was nothing on this.
Right.
No, the Sixers were not even listed. The Sixers were at the bottom, as Connor pointed out earlier. The Sixers were at the bottom of any Jaylen Brown potential destination. If you had bet it, a $10 bet could have returned you like $380.
Oh, that would have been nice.
Yeah, I mean,
the fact that they weren't even rumored, that's what makes it even more surprising. I mean, look, you had your Halliday and Lee deals over the years, and I know Philadelphia's been sleeper teams in the past, but this is a a superstar player that's going to be on the court given 40 minutes a night, close to, and he's actually going to play a lot of basketball, which I know is important in this city. So, no, it's probably one of the more shocking trades that we'll ever go to, especially in the world of media where we know everything at this point. There's no, believe it or not, A.J. Brown did get traded. Like, that happened. There was no rumors with Jaylen Brown. There was no Diana Rossini in this story.
Well,
she's a little busy.
Who's the thing is, though, is how could this have been the best deal on the table for Boston? That's what I don't get is that there were a lot of reported offers out there that were obviously false because there's no way that Brad Stevens, one of the best executives in the NBA, took this deal. So obviously the market for Jaylen Brown was terrible. And that's the next story for me is I got to figure out is why was the market so terrible for a talent like him?
$61 million next year, $64 million the year after that.
It limited the amount of teams that could talk about bringing him on. But come on now. This is an incredible talent.
No,
somebody
it's
had a chance
unbelievable. It's a win now move, right? And so maybe there are teams that are like, all right, we're not ready for that yet. We're not going to make this move. But then again, to your point, John, like I can't imagine that Paul George, 36-year-old Paul George, who, let's face it, has played his best basketball.
Yes.
36-year-old Paul George and a couple of first-round picks. I know the Clippers pick could still be a factor. It's like freaking calculus.
But now with the new rules of the lottery, that pick is not as valuable as we thought it could be.
Sure.
Because now the lottery is so balanced. That could end up being it's not as big a deal. Like, so I didn't even care yesterday when I saw that the pick was out there. I'm like, I'll take Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and for all we know, it could be like a okay first-round pick and a not so good first-round pick, considering the Sixers with Jaylen Brown will be a guaranteed top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference, right? And then you start seeing just how far up they can get there. Could they get there to the 4? Can they get there to the 3 seed? If that's the case, that first-round pick, you're drafting another LeBaron Feinland Jr., right? You're drafting in the 20s again if you're Boston. I know Boston's really good at that, so maybe they're just looking at stockpiling and trying to rebuild something. But rebuilding while you have Jason Tatum is a really interesting strategy.
Yeah, it's weird what they're doing up there. They signed Mitchell Robinson, so who knows where their heads are at. It's funny because you look at the return for superstars in the trade market this offseason. Like Giannis, it doesn't have anybody to play with down in Miami, and none of those guys Milwaukee got back are going to put them in championship contention. Toronto, with what they sent for Kawhi, I mean, L.A. was just kind of sending him where he wanted to go, it seems like. And it's almost like the Celtics saw a market where the Sixers had already been told, hey, you guys aren't going to be able to move Paul George and Joel Embiid because the max contract flips just don't exist with the landscape of the NBA. They saw the jail cell the Sixers were in, and they said, you got room for one more? We'd love to be in that market.
Yeah, I mean, the rules have changed with Second Apron, Blue Apron, Hello Fresh, you name it. Like there's so many new rules with the NBA cap structure and mid-level exemptions. And again, Boston's really good at finding those diamonds in the rough. Well, you can't really find many diamonds in the rough when you have a guy that's about to get paid $60 million. And that's the difficulty of the NBA. Do you value the $60 million superstar player, which he is? Jaylen Brown's a superstar. Or do you value draft picks and let's try to get some players cheap? Because look at the last couple of champions. Even though the Knicks have a lot of money tied up, they found a lot of guys or depth pieces. You looked at the Oklahoma City Thunders before everybody really got paid. You look at the San Antonio Spurs that will probably be in it for the long run. If you're hitting on your draft picks early on, which is what the process was supposed to be all about early on many, many moons ago, that's how you're going to start winning in today's NBA. So the Sixers still took on a big salary. So much for this, we don't believe in having 3 max contract players. They took on another max salary. They moved on from one. But I don't think anybody's complaining that they moved off from Paul George to bring in Jaylen Brown.
This is going to be interesting now because we talked about getting greedy in the 6 o'clock hour. The Jaylen Brown news is so big.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear this part.
So shocking. How could you possibly want more for a team that just went from NBA purgatory to fairly looked at as a contender, turning all this stuff around? Like, we're already ecstatic. And then Tony Jones, who's going to join us coming up at 9:05. We'll tell him you said hi, Andy. Puts out the report yesterday that the Sixers are reaching out and expressing interest in one LeBron James. What in the world do you make of that?
All right, well, first off, I love Tony Jones. I feel like there could be 20 basketball teams that we could have reporters write that story.
Well, they said they said on SportsCenter the late SportsCenter last night that I was still up for because it was like wild night. They said his camp says that there were 12 teams have reached out.
Right. Like I figured there.
So they say 12. So that means, and the Sixers are one of those 12.
Especially because LeBron James is at the state of his career where you can at least make the call. They might laugh you off and say, hey, mid-level exemption.
Right.
Hey, vet minimum. And they might laugh you off and hang up the phone right away. And the Sixers don't have any more max contract slots. So it's not like they can give LeBron James a 1-year max deal. But if LeBron James still truly values winning and the chance of winning a championship, since July 1st of 2018, when I was on the air, the day he signed with the Los Angeles Lakers, I was up at night. It was like at 11 o'clock at night when the news broke. We stayed on an extra 2 hours because it was big news because there was still that slight chance that Philadelphia was going to be able to land him, even though I never believed it. It has always made sense. LeBron to Philadelphia from a roster standpoint has always made sense because he can play with any roster, right? This isn't LeBron James come here and be the superstar and take us to the promised land. This is LeBron James. You can play a legitimate role with this basketball team. With all due respect to Dean Wade, you go to the bench. LeBron James is now your starting 4-man. And if you have a lineup that consists of Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe and Jaylen Brown and LeBron James and Joel Embiid, that's stupid. Like
I think that is Eastern Conference favorites. If you've got a healthy. If you had a healthy Joel Embiid for 55 games. 55 games.
I'll say this, John, even if you don't have a healthy Joel Embiid, LeBron James and what he can do, not just from a LeBron James presence standpoint.
We talk facilitator and everything? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, look, he can pass better than Tyrese Maxey, right? Like, LeBron James is, at this point of his career, can be a 6'8" point guard if he wanted to be, right? Like, it's like Magic Johnson, right? Like, he can take over and run point for this basketball team, get Tyrese Maxey in space. Tyrese Maxey's best shooting season, or one of his best shooting seasons, was when James Harden was around. Joel Embiid wins MVP was when James Harden was around. And then you guys know how I felt about Harden. He was the last true point guard that this Sixers team has had. LeBron James can play that at the 6'8", and also on the defensive end, he could be that 6'8" power forward that this team has not had for years. So LeBron James, it makes sense from a basketball standpoint. It just depends on what this guy wants. Does he want to do the swan song season where he gets to go to every arena and get a present from every single team, and he just wants it to be like this show? Or does he want to lock in, try to still win? And he could do that with this roster.
I've actually just gotten news. Austin just got in my ear. He's been seen outside of the Belmont Wawa. He's looking at schools in the area.
Yeah,
so I think he's coming.
His daughter is the last one, I think. He doesn't have to really worry about the schools.
No,
that's good.
I think LeBron's fine with where he wants to go. Wherever his kid wants to go, I think he's fine.
Yeah, I think he can make whatever
I think they'll
work.
get her in.
Now, that's greedy. So let's get back to the Jaylen Brown trade and moving off of the Paul George contract. I want to look back at the Al Horford deal with Oklahoma City, because this now makes that look like child's play. I don't want to take credit away from anybody because we don't know. So I'm not trying to get you to pick, but Bob Myers, Mike Yancey, whatever this new conglomerate is in the Sixers front office, how impressive just from, it doesn't even have to be Jaylen Brown. The fact that they were able to move Paul George, how much does that factor into your excitement for this?
Well, no, I mean, you have to add in Jaylen Brown because I loved the Al Horford deal where they sent him to OKC and they got Danny Green, right? I was happy that they got rid of the contract and also acquired a player that I was like, wow, he's actually still a 3-and-D player, which this team desperately needs. Now, Danny Green compared to Jaylen Brown, it's not even close. And, oh, by the way, this is a 6-year difference, right? Paul George is 36 years old. I'm going to keep on pointing that out. He's 36 and Jaylen Brown is 30. You got a superstar in the prime of his career, so you can't forget the Jaylen Brown factor of it. And it wasn't just that Al Horford contract. You moved off of that contract, and you still then had money to play with. Whereas in this case, you don't have money to play with, right? You didn't move off of a contract. You picked one up. But the fact that you were able to cycle these players in and out, that's what makes it that more impressive. This is like Howie Roseman level of trades. I don't even know if Howie Roseman is pulling off this trade because you still have the guy under contract for at least 3 years, and he's in the prime of his career. So this move it's unbelievable. Credit to Gansey, credit to Bob Myers, whoever was the one that really led the charge. I mean, I think they said it from the beginning. It was going to be a group effort. This is a really, really freaking good start. And if you're trying to gain attention for other players in the NBA to fill the margins and to add edge players on the roster, this is that move where you go, hey, look, NBA guys that can take a mid-level exemption, NBA guys that can take a vet minimum deal. This is the team to come to. It's a great start for a front office.
What time are you hitting the beach today?
Well, I'm going to the links first. Brigantine.
Yeah,
you're playing golf today with Pop?
8:10 tee time.
With Pop?
With my dad, my aunt and uncle that are I love them both.
Are they the Florida ones?
Yes, they're
okay.
in their 80s and they still hit the ball straight, man. And
Hey, stay hydrated out there, man. Drink some water.
Make sure everybody's hydrated.
We'll be good. So,
besides beer.
Andrew, yesterday, club championship, I had my Sweet 16 matchup. I took on Joe Finneran, and I didn't know who Joe Finneran was. I roll up to the first tee. Joe is 82 years old. I was tied after 13 holes. We were all even, and I did beat him. But it took. I mean, the man had game. So watch your aunt and uncle, because they're probably going.
Did you kick him when people weren't looking?
Dude, he could kick my.
Yeah, he beat up an old guy yesterday.
Dude, he's
proud of it this morning.
He's a war vet. He could kick my ass today. Let me just tell you. He's an 82-year-old. He's an 82. He goes, when's your birthday? And he goes, I was legally drinking before you were born. And
I love that.
And man, he played me tough all day. It was great. We had a great time. So watch your aunt and uncle. I bet you they're very crafty. Bet you they're crafty.
How long have I been on with you guys?
20 minutes.
You haven't brought up Prices Right once?
Oh, it was good. Did you watch?
I did.
You did get to, I knew you got to see the clip. How did you enjoy it? How did everybody enjoy it?
I loved it. I remember. So I know you told the story. I knew the whole time.
Andrew knew from the Monday.
I had to keep a secret for months of John Kincaid's Price is Right experience
and the whistling.
And you did tell me. You told me at one point. You always have to act a little bit more to be on camera because that's what they want. I was watching more so not for your numbers and you winning. I was watching more for your actions.
I was too.
And after you won, the double finger point to I don't know if it was.
It was to Drew. It was to Drew. It was to Drew and the producer, the lead producer. Drew was standing next to the lead producer.
It was very Michael Scottish from The Office, the double finger.
Yes, there you go.
Fired up, man. It was awesome.
It was fun. It was fun, and I got the word this morning that Drew Carey's sending me my money to the wire is supposedly on its way. So I don't get the car, I get my money. So there you go.
Can you get a big check?
No, you just get a wire transfer. I'll just take the wire transfer. Give me the cash, baby.
Okay, yeah, you're not.
All due respect to the people at Kia, you're awesome. But in Pennsylvania, you cannot win a car and the price is right. You just get that. So.
I'd like to see a big check.
There you
But
go.
the fun thing for, well, all of Philadelphia, maybe the only person, unfortunately, for John Kincade, he is no longer the biggest winner in the city this week.
No, not this week.
I believe that's the Philadelphia 76ers.
Mike Gansey is. No, Mike Gansey.
Damn right, man.
Mike Gansey is the winner, dude.
This fan
He's-
base, too.
Oh, my gosh.
Everybody. Play
This
that
doesn't
song. Turn
happen.
that up for us. Get
There we
Andy
go.
fired up. Oh, man. Andrew Salciunas, thank you so much. That team you love so much
Good
is
job,
back
dude.
in contention. Go enjoy
All right,
vacation.
see you
all
on
right?
Monday, buddy.
All right,
Take
bye,
it, man.
everyone.
We'll see you Monday.
There he is, Andrew Salciunas. You will hear him Monday back in his normal seat here on Kincade and Salciunas, taking some time. He's fired up. I know all of you are. I know somebody else is, too. You hear her all the time here on Kincade and Salciunas. You see her on NBC Sports Philadelphia.
She was doing a car video last night.
Coming up next, Amy Fadul will join us on the phone line to talk about what in the world happened. We'll ask her because she's more connected than John and I to the NBA circles. How did this happen? Does she have any idea? And what does this mean for where the Sixers can now go? It is Kincade and Salciunas back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jaylen Brown, come on down to Philly. 76ers traded for Jaylen Brown, Boston Celtics Finals MVP and NBA All-Pro. Per Sam Charania from ESPN, the Sixers traded Paul George 2 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks. Here's Shams on the trade.
Mike Gansey, the Sixers' new president, just stuck around for the party, waiting for that price to continue to drop and deplete. He didn't make the Irish goodbye like some other teams did.
He stuck around. Up next, we'll have Amy Fadul from NBC Sports Philadelphia to hear her input on the trade. And Tony Jones from The Athletic would join us as well at 9:05. The Flyers have signed Dan Vladar, Tyson Forrester, both to contract extensions that are going to tie them to Philadelphia for the long term. The team does have a scrimmage today over in Voorhees at their practice facility. It's open to the public, and it's going to begin at 6 p.m. Down at Citizens Bank Park, the Phillies jumped on Paul Skeens for 7 earned runs. Overall, Trey Turner, Brandon Marsh, and Alec Boehm all went deep in the ballgame to lift the Phillies to a W. Today, Alan Ronhell is going to be on the mound versus Jared Jones, with the first pitch being at 12:35. Make sure you stay cool if you're going to the game. In the World Cup, the U.S. defeated Bosnia 2-0 and will now face Belgium in Seattle Monday night, with the match beginning at 8 p.m. I'm Austin Jones, your home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic, and the Fanatic app.
casino and sportsbook app. Live Bet Sports on the BetParks app. Play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the BetParks online casino and sportsbook. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What a huge day, Philadelphia. Jaylen Brown is a Sixer. I'm Connor Thomas in for Andrew Salciunas alongside John Kincade, Austin Jones on the board. We were just talking to Andrew Salciunas, who took time out of his beach vacation. I mean, you kind of have to. One of the most shocking moves in the history of Philadelphia sports. Let's just break down the levels of shock factor. One, you move off of a Paul George contract that multiple NBA insiders said was unmovable. Like, that was a guy that a trade partner did not seem to exist for. The Sixers seemed to be locked in to that contract for another year, one that we all wanted them to move off of if possible. It did not seem possible. Two, not only did you move off of a bad contract, you moved off of a bad contract for a prime superstar player that fits your roster perfectly in Jaylen Brown. And number three, you were able to do that by acquiring that superstar player from your biggest rival team that was the 2 seed in your conference last year in the postseason.
That you knocked out.
It's just insane. Like, yeah, how do you think a Celtics fan feels today?
Oh, no, they feel terrible. And I have a text.
What do you got?
And it involves your story about LeBron James.
Okay.
You know, I got some pretty good NBA stuff on my phone. And this person is up very late. This person never went to bed.
Okay.
Says, do you want to believe LeBron James could be a Sixer? Sure. See if Gansey unloads somebody. He's not coming for the veteran minimum, but the Sixers would absolutely have to be one of the top 2 or 3 destinations he'd consider.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
But he says, see if Gansey unloads somebody because he ain't coming for the veteran minimum.
Now,
so don't he's not going to look to break the bank. In other words, that tells me, look, LeBron's not looking to break the bank.
yeah,
He's not looking.
people are going to take that as potentially Joel Embiid. We're not talking about Joel.
He's not looking to break the bank. He's not like LeBron's not going to be like, I need to be paid max money to come here.
Yeah.
But he's not playing for the veteran minimum.
But
so
move off a couple of guys to make that cap space.
Could
to
you
bring
do
him
that?
in.
So if you see Gansey make a move where he's unloading something,
the alarms are going off.
No, then the alarm should go off in your head going, uh-oh. And by the way, as I verified today, Gansey and LeBron James have known each other since they were 16 years old.
Yes, they have. Both
Now
Ohio
that can
guys.
verify that. 16.
Sounds
Dude, your whole thing.
Sounds like they might have a relationship
Well, your whole
there.
thing about well, no, they do have a relationship, and they work together in Cleveland.
Oh, I know.
I mean, whether they're friends or not, we do not know. We don't know. Like they may be just acquaintances.
Something to keep an eye on for
But
sure.
it
though.
is. But watch for if Gansey unloads some money off the roster, because there's probably would have to be some maneuvering if that was going to happen, because he's not taking the veteran minimum to be a Sixer. He's not here to do charity. So
No.
LeBron's gonna demand some level of mid-level exemption. They don't even have that, do they? If
They've
had
got
that
some money left.
Well, we'll see. We'll talk to Amy about it.
Yes, we will. Amy Fadul joining us now live here on Kincade and Salciunas to react to Jaylen Brown becoming a Sixer. Amy, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate hearing from you. What in the world just happened yesterday?
You could have knocked me over with the feather. Holy cow. I was getting ready to take Bird's huddle, and my phone blew up. Obviously, we all have the same notifications on all the time. And I looked down, and I had to make sure it was from Shams and not from, like, Shan's or, like, some kind of,
That's
fake
what I
account.
did, too. That's what I did.
Right? You had to double check. And then I sat with it for a second, and I was like, all right, let's go. What are we doing? Let's go. What is this? What is it in return for? What is this? How is this happening? Incredible. It was, I said, we have a text chain at the Fanatic, and I think I sent on it that you should give Gansey Executive of the Year right now, because that was an impressive move to make so quickly in his tenure as the president of basketball operations. But, yeah, I mean, I was stunned. It's a stunning trade.
Amy, when you look at all the stuff that had been talked about moving Jaylen Brown on from Boston, I got two questions. One of them being, what have you heard about why they felt they had to still move on from him, and why was the market so soft?
Yeah, it's interesting because there was some initial talk. I think we all saw it about, like, do you have to include a player to get him, right? Do you have to include VJ Edgecombe type to get him to move if he was coming here to the Sixers? And it turns out they didn't. I mean, it's a lot of picks, but it's picks. 2031 and 2028 and all these other numbers that you're throwing out there that seem so far into the future. But I think one of the main reasons stems from the Giannis trade, right? When they tried to move Jaylen for Giannis and it didn't come to fruition, that sent a message. Jaylen Brown has been a little bit, I know there was the funny tweet someone had out there yesterday about, we exchanged a disgruntled Brown for a different disgruntled Brown. And there's some truth to that. I mean, Jaylen Brown was unhappy there. He wanted to have a little bit more autonomy. He was treated as an also-ran. I mean, here's a guy that basically ran that team for the entire season, got them to a place. The Celtics were not picked at the top of the East going into last year because they didn't have Tatum, right? Tatum comes back the last, 16 games, and all of a sudden it was like Jaylen Brown was treated like chopped liver. Not really, but in his mind, I think he thought, well, I'm the one that got you guys here. Everybody's so excited to have Tater Tot back. What did I do? And so I think there's a lot of that kind of feeling for him of, so like, I've been the one to help lead you to the finals. I was the one that was really so helpful in helping win the championship, and now I'm being treated as like the second guy when he thinks he's the number one guy.
How does he fit in with this team? We know that he's going to slot in at the three.
He scores points, Connor. Let's go.
Yes, absolutely. They need it. But is he like the perfect fitting player, too, to play alongside Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe and Joel Embiid?
Yeah, I mean, get in where you can fit in. Jaylen Brown is a tremendous player, and I know we have, a different view of him just because he was irritating. He's an irritating player to be around. When you're facing the Sixers, because you're thinking he just is everywhere. He just does the little things. He's a tough player. He scores points. But, yeah, he's going to be a perfect player on a lot of teams. I mean, yes, he's going to fit in with the Sixers because of the way he can space the floor. And, yes, he's going to be able to fit in with the Sixers because he can score points and he can play defense. But I think that the way that he plays is a really good style to fit with Tyrese and VJ because he can run out. He can get that up and down kind of rhythm going. They want to play at faster speed. It's one of those things we worried about last year. I know we would talk about it. Was when Joel Embiid came back, how would it affect the rhythm that this team seems to like to play with as far as the speed? And it eventually did start to work again. Joel Embiid is going to fit in when he can. They're not always going to be able to run when he's out there. He is a guy that you're just like, all right, we're going to worry about that as far as the center position, the trailer, the whatever. Jaylen Brown's going to be able to give you that kind of transitional play when you have Joel out there. And then when you don't, he's going to be able to run with those guys as well.
I'm so excited to just think about, I've never seen a franchise in Philadelphia, and you've been here now for 17 years. I mean, have you ever seen a franchise in one day go from being irrelevant? Not irrelevant.
No.
Irrelevant for a title to being a title contender?
No. It reminds me of the only thing I can think, and it's not on the same level, but when the Phillies got Bryce Harper, it was such a huge momentum swing, right? The Phillies they had made the playoffs. There wasn't a lot of positive momentum, and it was like, well, they were good. It was like, they'll get in there, they'll be in the conversation. Sixers kind of the same way, but even worse because the Sixers just got smoked by the Knicks, and you're thinking they're not close. The president of basketball operations said they're not close. We all know they're not close. We just saw how not close they were by getting smoked by the Knicks, who went on to win the title. And then to go from that feeling to why aren't they the top two teams in the East right now? Those three guys right there, I'm thinking VJ, Maxey, Jaylen Brown. That wins you 45 games just rolling out of bed. Then you throw in other players. Are you kidding me? So I've never seen a transition as quickly from feeling like, and we all were there. I think I said something to Mark Jackson and I were there the last 48 hours of free agency being like, what are the Sixers doing? We're not doing anything. We're just watching everything. And then all of a sudden, there you go. There you go. And I want to go over to something you were talking about before I came on. Did you see Steve? It's Steve Gansey. It's Mike Gansey's brother. Tweeted the pic of LeBron and Mike when they were in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And they've known
Tremendous.
each other
I think
since
everybody's
16
like-
years old, right? 16 years
Yeah.
old, they know each other.
And I was like, all right, here we go.
There you go.
Do you think
And
that's
that's obviously a pipe dream.
Yeah,
We're just gonna take the good things that we have. We're allowed to have one nice thing, and right now it's Jaylen Brown.
Can't we think about two nice things? Like, how legitimate do you think that is? Talking to Amy Fadul here on Kincade Salciunas. You see her on NBC Sports Philadelphia. You hear her here on the Fanatic. The LeBron James dream, is that really a pipe dream, or is there a chance there?
I mean, I think it's always a pipe dream when you're looking at LeBron, but there's, in the same vein, there's always a chance when you're looking at LeBron. You have no idea what he is thinking, what he wants to do. Initially, it was, well, he's going to definitely, go to Golden State. And then it was like, oh, maybe he's going to go back to Cleveland. They do have a very good relationship, Mike Gansey and LeBron James, not just from stemming from both being Ohio kids growing up. But, Mike Gansey was one of the guys in the front office that was responsible for bringing LeBron back to Cleveland initially. So they have a very good relationship. They've known each other a very long time. I think that I'm not saying there's like a ton of fire where you're seeing the smoke, but I'm saying it's not a complete red herring either. At this point, after what I saw yesterday, nothing would surprise me.
It's a great place to be. Nothing would surprise
Like the
you.
car
in
video,
the positive.
too, Amy. Did you have the air conditioning on, though, because the windows were up?
Oh, my God. It was
hot.
crazy. Yes.
It was hot yesterday.
Hot.
Yes.
Hey, you got to survive the weather when big news
Take care.
breaks. That's why
Great
Amy
job,
Fadul is the
Aim.
best. Thank you so much for the time,
Good
Amy.
stuff.
And
Thanks, guys.
we'll be breaking this down for weeks,
Oh,
months.
Oh, my
play the
gosh.
Song.
No,
Yeah.
wait, she has
Get that
82.
loud.
Wait a minute. Amy has 82 postgame shows.
Yeah, they just got, well, they're always great. But now Jaylen Brown, we got
Oh,
even
yeah.
more to talk about.
There you go.
Exactly.
Thanks, Amy. There she is. Amy
Thanks,
Fadul
guys.
joining us here on Kincade and Salciunas. We've heard from Andrew Salciunas. We've heard from Amy Fadul. A lot of people very fired up. We hear from you next on the trade that shook the NBA and turned your Sixers into a contender. Also coming up next, because there's other stuff in the world, we've still got today's headlines with Austin Jones, and we've got a Twitter poll to update you on. It is a busy day in the best way, and we are back after this here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. got today's headlines coming your way in just a couple of minutes with Austin Jones. First, let's get a check-in on the Davis Honda text line. I imagine that people are talking a little bit about some trade that happened yesterday, some Jaylen Brown guy getting traded from the Celtics to
Jaylen
the
Brown
Sixers.
got traded?
Oh, yeah. Paul George
What?
going to Boston, along with 2 first and 2 second-round picks. Jaylen Brown, the return. Who could have ever dreamt it? What are the folks saying on the text line, Austin?
Alrighty, so here's one from Mike from Phoenixville. This Jaylen Brown trade is a result of all the good karma we have stocked up for everything we've been through as Sixers fans the past 10 years or so. Hopefully there's still some good karma there so we can have a stocked run and a healthy Embiid in the playoffs.
That'd be nice.
Let's not push it, but let's have some fun.
That'd be nice. Sounds like fun, right?
It is such a change in the momentum, the vibe, the fate of the Philadelphia 76ers. It feels like they're always a doomed franchise, right? A cursed franchise is a way we've talked about them in the past. Some of it their fault, some of it even outside the realm of what you can rightfully blame them for, like the wild injury stuff.
It's been crazy.
For this to go so positive for them out of nowhere, the immediate flip of, I don't want to call it luck because the work of the front office should not be termed as luck, but it feels like a stroke of insane luck, of brilliance from this team.
I still got to get to the and I can't wait till Tony Jones joins us. I have no idea why the Jaylen Brown price tag was this.
That's my big bro.
Yeah, Austin's big bro. Austin Jones on the board.
I have no idea why this is the price tag.
I don't either.
I can't
But
wait.
I'll take it.
Oh no, it's the most beautiful. It's the most beautiful news we've had in forever.
And once that money's on the table, all sales are final. Jaylen Brown is a Philadelphia 76er. We will also check in on the Twitter poll here. So, Austin, how hyperbolic are people being? How far are they taking this on the Dr. Avidad Appel of Iron Mountain Men's Health Twitter poll today?
Yeah, so our Twitter poll today is, do you believe the Sixers trade for Jaylen Brown is the greatest trade in Philadelphia sports history? Still leading the way at no, but this time at 61%, and yes at 39%.
What are
So
the
it's
other
growing.
trades? Like, what are the other trades that people are talking
So
about?
we had one person, I will say, because you never know with Twitter. They said the trade for AJ Brown, 2 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years and a championship is the vote for him.
So here's what's
No.
tough about it. For those other trades, you're seeing the fruits of the labors. You have the actual full story of what it's turned into. Steve Carlton, Moses Malone. We're talking about World Series and NBA
and
Finals
Steve
victory.
Carlton was traded before I ever went to school.
And then when you look at, and when you look at the A.J. Brown trade, you know that resulted in a Super Bowl. We don't know what the Sixers are going to accomplish with Jaylen Brown as a member of this team.
Yeah,
No
and
idea.
Trevor chimed in. He said, what about Lindros?
Wasn't a trade. It was like an acquisition by the
Yeah, that
well,
was-
two teams had put in the same claim. It was so complicated you wouldn't believe it. The story of it was wild.
Yeah, this is cut and dry.
I remember listening to the press conference from the arbiter when he decided that Eric Lindros was a Flyer. When he gave the Flyers Eric Lindros. It was the wildest thing in the world to be listening to. And it was like at 11 in the morning. You had to listen to the press conference to hear, did the Flyers get him or did the Quebec Nordiques get him? Or did the Rangers get him?
Yeah.
I think it was the 2 teams that were up for him.
This is one of those moments. Like yesterday is one of those days, July 1st, 2026, that 10, 15, 20 years down the line.
Hopefully you're going to need it. It's even going to be bigger
Yes.
because it led to a championship.
But it's just one of those where it's like that is a complete shift in what you can believe in with a team.
Yep.
The Philadelphia 76ers have done a 180 in a matter of moments, and we get to react to it today. But we're going to take a quick break on that to get to today's headlines with Austin Jones.
Today's headlines with Austin Jones.
And today's headlines is brought to you by Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers, visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. Well, Connor, I wish we could go far away from this story, but we're going to go right back to this story of Jaylen Brown being acquired by the 76ers because if you remember this past playoffs for the 76ers, they did a reverse sweep, completing a 3-1 comeback against their arch rival. And throughout that playoff series, apparently there was some flopping that Jaylen Brown was not a fan of, but now they're teammates. Here's Jaylen Brown after the series.
This is my personal opinion on basketball. Some of y'all might disagree. Flopping has ruined our game. Joel Embiid is a great player, one of the best bigs in basketball history. Flops. He know it. This ain't breaking news. That's just my opinion.
All I heard there was great player, one of the best bigs in basketball history. I don't even know what the rest of that is. Hey, we're good, Jaylen. We're good. I'm not worried about that. And the funny thing, people might look at that and be like, oh, how will they get along? Joel Embiid had one of the most public social media beefs with Andre Drummond back in the day, where they used to go at each other on social media talking trash. They had no issues whatsoever.
No, they got along great as teammates.
All due respect to Andre Drummond, he ain't Jaylen Brown. They're going to be just fine as teammates. I bet you that.
Yeah, they asked Big Perk on SportsCenter last night if there's going to be any beef or animosity, and he said absolutely not. They're going to be playing basketball together, and it's going to be a fun duo between them two.
Sure.
All right, jumping over into baseball, Junior Camarero has 22 home runs on the year, but he's hit a home run in 6 straight games. He's the youngest player since 1900. He's 22 years old to accomplish that feat. He has over 8 home runs in 6 games. Earlier in the season, you remember Kyle Schwarber, our guy, had 5 in 5. Well, he had 5 home runs in the set amount of games. Thoughts on Junior? And then also, we had a football score in baseball yesterday where the Chicago Cubs beat down the Padres 23-3. Dansby Swanson again had another fantastic day at the plate. He goes 3 home runs with 8 RBIs as the Cubs pummel the Padres.
I sent him a little text and said, new dad strength. He is on a home run tear. He had 15 RBI in the Mets series in 3 games of the Mets series last week.
Yeah, the Cubs
and then had that day yesterday. He's hitting
rolling.
He's hitting 208.
Yeah, but he's hitting the ball out of the yard.
But I think he has 54 runs batted in.
Yep.
So he's doing what he's asked to do there, but the batting average sucks. But he's getting it done. Cubs are on a roll. Cubs are tied with the Phillies for the best wild card spot. By the way, both of them 3 games up on the top wild card spot, which is exactly where I wanted the Phillies to be at the All-Star break. They got 2 weeks to go.
Yeah.
They're going to build that up, hopefully.
They absolutely should. And Junior Caminero, the Rays, they find young talent. They really do.
They do, don't they?
Their problem's keeping it.
Right.
And
it's the holding of the reservation.
Yeah. All right,
Jerry.
Seinfeld. What else do we have there, Austin?
And we got to get into it. Yesterday, USA defeats Bosnia. They're going to move on to the next round. Here are the goals from last night's game, and then we'll throw it back to Connor Thomas for a deeper dive.
Also would go long. Team only man there, able to steer it to Adams, flicks it along Tillman. He's got Balogun making a run off him. Can he get around to that ball? To the deflection, Balogun scores! Flo Balogun, first to react to the deflection. He'll do the LeBron celebration. It's 1-0 U.S. Tillman! Again! Malik Tillman! 2-0 United States!
Who was the play-by-play guy, by the way?
I am not sure.
Didn't like him.
I couldn't really hear it because I was out at a bar for that one.
Did not like him. You were lucky. Did not like him.
Okay.
JP Delacamera was doing the games. I used to work with JP. He did the hockey games when I was the sideline guy. JP was play-by-play guy. I heard JP doing a game yesterday. Much less of a screamer.
That's soccer
Much less
for you,
of
man.
much less of the Gus Johnson.
Eric Collins-esque.
Yes.
Yeah, soccer always has it, especially with big plays. The most impressive thing that I saw from Team USA last night is they go down to 10 men, and they keep pressing. They find a way to net 2 more. Only one of them counted. One was called off. But the fact that you're down a man and were able to control that game so much, they were clearly the better team. They did not choke in a big moment, which we've seen so many times from that side. That was a great night to see from them. You know, it's
frustrated about the red card?
We'll talk about that. We'll get into that later when we take a look ahead at what their next matchup will be. That'll be late in the 9 o'clock hour. But the biggest thing, too, is I sat down at the bar for that game, and Ray Dunn texted me to ask where I was out and what I was doing. I was like, I don't remotely care about this game anymore. Because all I could think about
all you think about was Jaylen Brown?
Was Jaylen Brown on the Philadelphia 76ers. It was just like, okay, this is what my real sports fandom is versus what we talked about yesterday with the national pride.
I get you. And the thing was, I found it very hard to concentrate. Like my wife was was down getting stuff settled in the condo, and she's like wanting to talk on the phone. I'm like, honey,
not now.
USA Soccer's on, the Phillies are on, and the Sixers just made a trade that I really believe changes the franchise fortunes like the most in a quarter century. I don't really want to chit-chat. You know, it's like I'm not.
Yeah, there was a lot of places that had your attention yesterday. We got a lot going on the show here.
Yes.
It's Thursday, which means, as usual, Andrew DeCecco will join us from the 8 o'clock hour to the end of the show. So he'll be in with us coming up. We're going to talk to him about his reaction, where he was, what it means. I saw some people always love to do the, what does this mean in NFL terms? We'll ask him that coming up. And we're also going to let you hear from opposing fan bases and media members
so much fun.
On the Jaylen Brown trade. How did Boston react? How did New York react? You're going to hear some great sound. You're going to eat this up as we start the 8 o'clock hour here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jaylen Brown, come on down to Philly. I'm Austin Jones with the Fanatic Sports Update. This update is brought to you by Corona. Your shot at the Home Run Derby and MLB All-Star Game ticket starts with Corona and 97.5 The Fanatic. Join us All-Star Weekend at City Tap House, Morgan's Pier, and Tailgate Sports Bar. Learn more at 97.5 The Fanatic. Must be 21 and pleasant. Plus, president by Corona. All right, so Jaylen Brown's coming down to Philly after a trade with the Celtics. The Sixers sent out Paul George, 2 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks. Who Strom's from ESPN on the trade.
Mike Gansey, the Sixers' new president, just stuck around for the party, waiting for that price to continue to drop and deplete. He didn't make the Irish goodbye like some other teams did.
Mike Gansey did not. He stuck around and nailed Jaylen Brown. Tony Jones from The Athletic will join us at 9:05 to give us more reaction. The Flyers signed Dan Vladar and Tyson Foerster to both long-term contract extensions. The team does have a scrimmage today that's going to be open to the public over in Voorhees starting at 6 o'clock. And the Phillies beat down the Pirates as Paul Skeens gave up 7 earned runs. Today, Alan Ronhell is going to be on the mound versus Jared Jones, with first pitch being at 12:35. This update is brought to you by the Macomb Group. The Macomb Group supports contractors with one of the largest PFE inventories from pipe valve and fittings to be trusted brands. Count on the Macomb Group to help you stay on schedule. Vets, visit MacomGroup.com today. I'm Austin Jones in the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
Well, in case you were, I don't know, asleep for the last 16 hours.
And how long was your nap yesterday?
Luckily, just short enough that I woke up 30 minutes before the big news broke.
Because I passed out for like 50 minutes on the couch after golf
Yeah, I think I was
After
at like
beating
2.5
an
hours.
82-year-old man in a match, Mendelbaum, Mr. Joe Finneran, who was fantastic. But he was good.
Connor and I were texting a little bit yesterday about it.
I was on my way out, and you were excited, too.
Yeah.
The news that you may have missed, I don't know how you possibly could have, but we'll tell you anyway. Jaylen Brown being traded to the Philadelphia 76ers yesterday afternoon.
What a great day.
For Paul George, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. The NBA was a firestorm of reaction yesterday to this, and so was the city of Philadelphia. Nobody saw this coming.
No.
And, Andrew, I know that you, just like everybody else out there, had to be dumbfounded when you saw this news come down. What was the reaction to the trade like for you?
So I'm driving, and I get to a red light, and I get a text from one of my buddies, Chuck. He says, the Sixers traded for Jaylen Brown. And I have to wait till I get to where I'm going. I said, there's no way this is legitimate. I have to check
You're thinking
and recheck
fake account, right?
about 5 different times. I'm looking to make sure it's the accounts are legitimate, and I'm like, wow. Now, who did they trade? Who did they get rid of? Paul Pierce. Paul George. I'm like, how is that possible? To get rid of that albatross of a contract, right? When you look at Joel Embiid and Paul George, we were all of the belief that this is life for the Sixers for the foreseeable future, and they're not going to be able to move out from that. Now, you add a 3-level scorer, someone who's an alpha, who brings the urgency, the intensity, and he can carry a basketball team. They added a legitimate star, and it's hard to find any faults in that move. I don't know how the Sixers were able to pull that off, nor do I particularly care to find out, but they added a critical piece, and all of a sudden, the tides have turned a little bit, and I think you really have to tip your cap to Bob Myers and Mike Gansey for what they've done thus far.
Connor, I think it brings up something that you said earlier, and you said it subtly, is the idea is that why it's one of the things in sports where you always live by it. I do not. So it's something that Connor lives by, and it showed out yesterday. Don't ever go 100% out on something, because sometimes what looks like there's no chance something can happen, there's a chance something could happen. Because I thought there was no chance they could. I still don't think there's any chance they could move Embiid's contract. But I thought they're not moving either contract this offseason.
Yeah, I didn't think there was any way.
I thought it was done. And I certainly didn't think involved in a Jaylen Brown deal.
And by the way, lost in all this, guys, is the fact that Jaylen Brown last season played in 71 games. The year before that, I believe it was 60, and the year before that, it was 70. So you like the reliability, the dependability, and for continuity purposes with this nucleus, that's going to go a long way in establishing some momentum moving forward.
Because they got kids. They have kids to surround him with, and he's 28, 29.
He's 29.
I mean,
but Paul George was a really good role player for the Sixers, and I mean, you're getting now a star. So it's
unbelievable.
Paul George is 36 years old, by the way. So you swap out, you get younger there as well.
I just don't remotely understand how it happened. We're going to ask Tony Jones about that at 9:05. But this is one of the most shocking trades in Philadelphia sports history, and the benefit that you get from this so far outweighs any type of rationale that the Boston Celtics could have for making this move with a division rival, with one of their biggest rivals, with the team that knocked them out of the postseason. I don't even know, and we're going to ask you in a second, the NFL equivalent of what this is, to break this down in terms. Maybe there are some people who saw the news who are like, I'm an Eagles fan, but today I want in on the Philadelphia 76ers because everybody around here is telling me this is an insane acquisition for a team that felt stuck. Also, coming up in just about 5 minutes, we're going to play reaction. You said it's hard to find fault with any part of this. Yeah, from our perspective. But there are a lot of people finding fault with it from the Boston perspective, from the New York perspective.
So much fun.
You get to hear some upset Celtics and New York Knicks media members later on. But let's get to that comparison. I'm interested where your mind goes with this. What would be like the NFL equivalent of this move? How big of a deal is this?
Myles Garrett to the Rams, to me.
Yeah.
I think when you're looking at star power and how it can transform a roster, Connor, that to me, and I know that it's the most recent, so it's currently in my mind, it's at the forefront, but to me, that's what you're looking at.
But Cleveland got more in return.
Yeah, yes.
Than Boston got.
Well, exactly.
You
But
know
I'm
what I
just
mean?
looking at it from
Sure,
a player perspective.
absolutely.
And you mentioned that this is possibly the most, memorable trade in Philadelphia sports history. The only one that you can think of is maybe that three-way trade that brought Terrell Owens to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But, apart from that, and I know that we're living in a world where it might sound like hyperbole, but I don't think that it is. When you look at the body of work, it's not a flash in the pan. There's a track record of demonstrated performance here with Jaylen Brown, and I really think that he's going to pair well with the nucleus that they have with Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and we'll see with Embiid as well.
Dude, the crazy thing is, like, you bring up Myles Garrett. It would be like if that deal for Myles Garrett was, I don't know what, Brandon Graham being traded for Myles Garrett. Like, all due respect to BG, I'm just trying to think of like an older player.
Exactly.
Yeah. The return doesn't remotely meet what the Sixers got back. And the fleece job, you see it all the time on every trade that ever gets done. You go on social media, a trade gets done, one of the insiders puts it out, and all the comments are, X or Y got fleeced. And sometimes it's just people talking trash on social media. Yesterday was one of the few where that's a legitimate, you pulled the wool over the eyes of the Boston Celtics. You took full advantage of your biggest rival in the sport, or one of your biggest rivals in the sport, and you turned yourself into a contender overnight.
And
I can't believe it.
And Brad Stevens is looked upon sort of as a Howie Roseman type in his sport.
So it is
it's shocking in that regard.
Have some eyebrows raised, but we're also not privy to the inner dynamics, the inner workings of how his personality meshed and things like that. Maybe he had overstayed his welcome there, but he gets a clean slate here in Philadelphia, and that's really all that matters from the Philadelphia perspective.
So when you see that go yesterday, I'm interested in your mind as just like a fan, because you get to be a fan of the Sixers, Flyers, and Phillies and get to see it from a different perspective than the stuff we ask you on the Eagles. Are you thinking, was NBA Finals in your mind? Was a parade down Broad Street in your mind? I know we're so far away from even the season starting, but was this one where it's just like, oh, it's interesting they did that? Or was it, oh, it's full go, I'm all in on this team?
Well, it certainly puts them in the mix, but I know that while Joel Embiid is here, there's always going to be that, that school of thought. You need to be available to play, the full complement of games in the postseason, and he's just not going to be able to do that. Certainly, as he continues to get older, that becomes increasingly less likely. So because of that, they're going to be in the mix, but that's a pretty significant hurdle that they're going to have to clear for that box to be checked off.
It is what I can't get over is the new set of eyes. And you look at rosters, and I know because I've talked to you about rosters, and I've talked to you about players and said how guys fit, who's going to thing. And I listen when we talk about Birds Digest on the weekends, and you talk about who's going to make your roster and how you constantly evolve your 53-man or whatever it is roster every week. Mike Gansey came in and looked at the same roster that we saw Daryl Morey have. And he saw a path that another guy who's been here obviously couldn't execute.
Well, none of us saw that there being a realistic path to prominence or relevance, I should say.
But isn't it amazing that an executive can like a different set of eyes can matter?
Absolutely, and sometimes you need that fresh perspective to be able to execute some things. You have to get creative because you look at their financial situation. It's crippling, those two contracts that we mentioned. Well, no longer Paul George, but Joel Embiid, and you're hamstringed to a degree in what you're able to do, but that's why I had to double check and check maybe 3 or 4 times.
You always do that with your sources anyway.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I didn't know how that was going to be possible.
Took the glasses off, wiped them on the shirt. Like, am I reading this correctly?
I said, wait a minute, am I on Candid Camera or something? But it's a tremendous move for the Philadelphia 76ers, for sure.
It's funny because someone on the YouTube chat earlier, I can't scroll back far enough to see it, but they were like, good morning to everybody except Daryl Morey. I don't even look at this as like something Daryl Morey couldn't do.
That's our boy, if.
You don't, though?
No, because nobody else in the NBA, like none of the insiders, none of the other front office members, there was no whisper about Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George.
I got you, but you have to look at it as Daryl Morey made a mess.
No, exactly.
And this guy comes in and just looks at the situation, and he looks at the board, he looks at the equation on the board, and he takes the magic marker and he solves it.
Yeah, but it's not just Daryl Morey. That's the thing. And like, I'm not trying to back him up. He put us in this position. It's not a Daryl Morey is actually he did a better job than you think. No. I just don't even care about him today because you could have brought any other president of basketball operations around the NBA, and from what we know, from what we've been hearing, nobody else saw it. So it's not just a better than Daryl Morey. he found a gap in the market that nobody else in the sport saw. It's another level above just comparing him to the guy who was here.
And he took his time. Like, this was a deal that Sean said it took over 2 weeks to negotiate, where they originally wanted VJ, and Mike Ganji's like, no, I'm not doing that. And now 2 weeks later, you get Jaylen Brown for pennies on the dollar.
It's just an unbelievable example of waiting, executing when the iron is hot, and finding a way to turn your team into something nobody believed they could be. Something that someone else brought up on the YouTube as well was that Jaylen Brown has a ring. We haven't even mentioned this once because we're talking about how he fits and how many points he averaged, what he did last year. This is a finals MVP that you have acquired. You're not just getting a guy that's been good in the regular season. You're getting a guy that in the biggest series of an NBA postseason was the finals MVP on a team that had a healthy Jason Tatum. This could not have gone better for the Sixers. So all of this, it's a 100% win from the Philadelphia perspective. This is going to be fun.
This is such gold.
It is.
This is I've been looking forward to this all morning.
So we're going to hear from a couple of people who reacted from outside of Philadelphia now. So we're going to go down the list. Let's start with Big Perk. Kendrick Perkins was on ESPN reacting to the trade.
Who, by the way, is a Boston guy.
Former Celtic.
Has a home in the Boston suburbs. Has still a tie to that organization. Came to ESPN from doing Celtics games. So he has Celtics in him.
Yes. He was not happy about what went down with his organization last night.
First of all, this is a sad day for the Boston Celtics. And as a former Celtic, I do not approve of this trade. If you're going to trade a guy that's a top 10 player, you at least got to get back a guy that's a top 15, top 20 player. And Paul George is not that. Paul George hasn't been consistently good since I was skinny. And that's been a long damn time. When you talk about Jaylen Brown, your former finals MVP, conference finals MVP, NBA champion, coming off his best season of his career, statistically, leading this team past, defeating all the odds. They were supposed to be in the tanking mode. This team finished second in the East, and I know things didn't work out like it was supposed to as far as the way that the playoff run ended, but at the end of the day, if you're Brad Stevens, to me, he had already lost when he lost the Giannis sweepstakes to the Miami Heat. If you're going to jump off the porch and you're going to make Jaylen Brown available, you got to make sure you pencil in that deal. This is nothing but sloppy seconds, in my opinion. And in the way I see it, he just basically handed the Philadelphia 76ers a trip to the NBA Finals next year.
Now, that's strong wording at the end. I just love the
sloppy seconds?
No, I more meant the handed them a trip to the NBA Finals.
Perk is so...
He's got away with words, doesn't he?
Yeah, he really does.
He really articulated that well.
Well, you could hear the anguish in his voice, and one thing I will give him credit for is he doesn't hide that he's a Celtic. He's a Celtic at heart. He's a Celtic champion. He's a Celtic at heart. He cares. But, man, you could hear the anguish in his voice because he's pissed.
He should be.
He's pissed that happened.
Oh, if you think he's mad, wait till you hear what our pals up at 98.5, the Sports Hub up in Boston.
Our sister station.
Tony Maserati was reacting to the trade live
That's
on
his
the
real
air
name,
up there.
by the way.
And he was not happy, just like you heard Kendrick Perkins being upset.
Jaylen Brown traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. Let me begin right here. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it with a freaking passion. This was a salary dump or a contract dump, or define it however you want. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous trade. Paul George is 36 years old, and to save 1 year of money, 1 year of money, Jimmy, is what you're telling me, that George is getting paid for the next 2.
Yep.
Is there any sort of player option or anything after that?
Not that I'm seeing.
So the Celtics just traded a guy that they took with the number 3 pick in the draft, who's been here 10 years, who's MVP of the NBA Finals, wingman to Jason Tatum, if not his equal, pretty damn close. And they traded him to the Philadelphia 76ers for a 36-year-old guy who looks like he's getting near the end. There was a little bit of a resurgence there in the postseason, but a guy who's been a failure pretty much everywhere he's gone since he left Indiana. 2 firsts and 2 seconds. I hate it. It was a money dump. That's all it was. And the Celtics now today are worse than they were yesterday.
He had just sucked, by the way, he had just sucked one of those helium balloons. right before that segment began. So
he
they
sounds really broken up.
He
about
sounds
it.
really broken up.
Well, if you were a Boston fan and you seen that trade, wouldn't you want to be in a different universe as well?
Gosh, that was awesome.
I love the immediate bargaining of asking his producer, is there a player option? Just like where we've been for years with the Paul George contract of like, how in the world do we get out of this? Immediately getting to that point of, oh my God, is there any way?
Is there anything else? Like you know, do you ever get a card from like your grandma or something and you're like shaking it? Like, wait a minute, there's no money in this card. They were looking for something. They were looking for something extra. That was so awesome.
I always read the card first.
Yeah, it's a thought that counts.
No, that's because you're a writer. You look at those things. I'm looking for the money, dude. I'm like thinking my grandma's been dead a long time.
Well, now the Celtics have one less year of money, but clearly that's not enough for them to say they hate it, they hate it, they hate it.
I hate it, I hate it, I hate it.
Now let's go national here. Noah Bono of CBS Sports had immediate reaction to the trade as well. Not necessarily affiliated with one of your rivals, but just more of a overall view from an NBA perspective. Here's what he had to say on the trade.
This is unbelievable. I don't know what Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics are thinking.
Yeah.
Who trades their finals MVP in the heart of their prime to the rival that just eliminated you from the playoffs just 2 months ago? I mean, this is just to not even get a guy in return that you could be excited about. Paul George is on the tail end of his career. I mean, this is just a massive, massive loss for the Boston Celtics to trade away one of the Jays. You kept Jason Tatum, who I love, who everybody in Boston loves, and you traded away his running mate that was so unbelievably successful. And with him, and then even this year without him, to come off the season that Jaylen Brown just had for the Boston Celtics, who everybody counted out, with Tatum going down with that Achilles injury, and to do what he did to get you to a number 2 overall seed, and then just stab him in the back. It's unfathomable that this is how the Celtics would do this, and that this is the team that they would trade him to, and that's what they would get in return. Everything about it is an F grade for the Boston Celtics. I cannot believe it.
I could listen to just this all day long and just laugh. Every one of them last night, it was better than the next.
Yep, it's great to hear.
I love it. Now the thing is, we probably sound that way when we're bitching and moaning about something, but this is it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious.
An F grade
it's
on
an
the trade.
F about everything, and oh, mommy.
I mean, I'd be upset if I was them. I don't blame.
They're upset, all right.
This is Luka Doncic light.
This is Boston, though. I'm so freaking tired of Boston. Cry me a freaking river. Shut up. Like Boston.
Yeah, if you're a Celtics fan, how can you get excited about that? Paul George. And
seriously,
a flurry of draft picks.
Yes, you can't be. You can't be.
I just don't see how they can look at that with any sort of optimism.
No, you got pantsed by a division rival and a team that you hate. Like they just embarrassed you in front of the entire NBA, took one of your best players, and gave you just a contract that they've been trying to get rid of.
Thing is, I would want to hear. I'm listening to these, and I'd want to hear DeCecco live on the air when something like this happens, because you're so freaking analytical. I would love to hear DeCecco pissed off, where he's trying to be measured and he's trying to be objective and he's trying to just use his analytical brain, but he's so pissed off he's choosing his words. Because I'd be like these guys.
Yeah,
that's where you hear me do these calculated pauses. I got to make sure I'm very deliberate.
Connor and I
with
would
my words.
Connor and I just let it rip.
Yeah,
like a bunch of immature idiots. You'd be like choosing your words carefully. We'd be just like, oh, this freaking sucks.
One more group that let it rip yesterday: Don Hahn and Rosenberg of ESPN New York.
Yes.
So these are some Knicks
they
fans.
Were just at a parade. They were just at a parade.
Yes, and now they have to exist in a world where the Sixers are a valid contender to their crown right now. They reacted to the trade.
I was just this can't be right. Oh, from our very own Shams Charania. Shams Charania is reporting that the Boston Celtics have agreed to trade Jaylen Brown to the Sixers for Paul George, 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks.
So they're all of a sudden in a rebuild?
That's an awful trade.
Unless they got somebody else coming in free agency. How you went from a team trying to be competitive with the Knicks to tapping out? There's got to be another move here. They must be getting something back, and they need the picks to make it work, right?
Don,
There's got to be a third team here that now is going to complete this.
As God is my witness, that has to be the case. Has to be the case. Why? Please, someone, can we get someone on the line? Where's Shams? Someone make this make sense. Who can make this make sense? Where's Windy? I'm so sick, dude.
You just had a parade.
No. Because no matter what the Celtics did, why did we do this for the Sixers, though?
You just had a parade. The ticker tape is still on the streets. And the New York fans, that's a New York sports radio station, and they're pissed that the Sixers are relevant. Like they're just, it's like they're uh-oh.
Yeah, dude. Look over your shoulder.
Yeah. Sounds like they need Dr. Leo Marvin from What About Bob to sit there and counsel these guys.
Yes, because it really does. I love that. There's nothing better. I could listen to that for hours. We could have done that for 4 hours today.
Little bit of news for those folks up in New York. There was no third team. There is no other move.
There's nothing else in the bag.
Nope. That was the trade.
Wait a minute.
Jaylen Brown for Paul George, 2 firsts.
Grandma gave me socks? Oh, my gosh.
Hey, socks are nice.
Jaylen
Brown's
gift.
much nicer.
There you go.
Oh, my goodness. What a day
Uncle
it
Connor
was.
better not ever give socks, by the way.
If he needs socks, I'll give him socks.
Dude.
Now,
They're very much appreciated as you get older.
Here's what's interesting.
Therapeutic socks.
If you're like me as a Sixers fan, you may have been viewing this offseason around the NBA in a different way than some other fan bases. Your perspective now has to change on moves that have already happened. So I'll tell you what that mental shift is for me, why I think a lot of you out there are probably having it too today, and we'll update you on who to keep an eye on, as now we've got to think about the contenders in the Eastern Conference again. You're in the mix. Who's in the mix with you? We'll talk about it as we continue here on Kincade Salciunas. Andrew DeCecco in studio with us the rest of the way. We're back after this.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jaylen Brown, come on down to Philly. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Updates. The 76ers traded for the Finals MVP Jaylen Brown from the rival Celtics. Per ESPN Shams Charania, the Sixers traded Paul George, 2 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks for the All-Pro wing. Here is Shams on the trade.
Mike Gansey, the Sixers' new president, just stuck around for the party, waiting for that price to continue to drop and deplete. He didn't make the Irish goodbye like some other teams did.
Sometimes it's good when you hang around at the party late. Tony Jones from The Athletic will join us at 9:05 to give us more reaction. The Flyers signed Dan Vladar and Tyson Foerster both to contract extensions to tie them to Philly for the long term. The team does have a scrimmage today that would take place over in Voorhees at their practice facility starting at 6 p.m. and open to the public. Down at Citizens Bank Park, the Phillies jumped on Paul Skeens for 7 earned runs overall. Trey Turner, Brandon Marsh, and Alec Boehm all hit home runs. Today, Alan Ronhell will be on the mound versus Jared Jones, with the first pitch being at 12:35. If you're going, please stay cool. And in the World Cup, the U.S. defeated Bosnia 2-0 and will face Belgium in Seattle Monday night, with the match beginning at 8 p.m. I'm Austin Jones in the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
to the Jaylen Brown trade to your Philadelphia 76ers. Paul George contract off the books for Philadelphia. They move him 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Finals MVP, coming off the best season of his professional career. Rival player Jaylen Brown, younger, better, a fit for this team. Why in the world did Boston do it? We have no idea. We will talk to Tony Jones at 9:05 about that. I still don't have the answer. Here's all I know. It's awesome. It's like if you're sitting at the bar, just a regular, average.
You sit at bars a lot. So, I mean, you're speaking from a point of,
This is why it fits for me, right? And you see this girl walking, you're like, wow, drop dead gorgeous. And she comes right up to you and sits next to you at the bar, starts talking to you. You like look over your shoulder. Is she talking to me? Like, what is going on right now?
Okay, so you're doing like a fantasy scenario here.
Exactly. Like
you're doing a penthouse forum here.
Why in the world did this girl just come down and sit next to little old me? That is essentially what happened with the Philadelphia 76ers yesterday. Why in the world is Jaylen Brown now available for this return for our basketball team and getting us out of purgatory, allowing us to compete, taking him from a division rival? Like, I can't fathom why in the world this trade happened, but I know that it did.
So trying to interpret your analogy there, you're skeptical.
It's not even skeptical.
She was probably trying to roll you to get something, like your watch or your
It's
wallet.
not about me.
Connor,
it's not
if
about
it was
me.
you. Okay, so I was just drawn up in the scenario with you. But if in this situation, why?
We're not moving past this.
Exactly.
God forbid I use that analogy again. We're going to leave that one in the holster next time. But that's essentially what it was for the Sixers. It was this unforeseen major step in a direction that we did not believe the franchise would be able to go to. We were talking about 2 or 3 years down the line, just waiting for a chance. And even then, it was, at least then you'll have flexibility to maybe go sign some free agents who fit around Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. That's what we were talking about.
Right.
The steps were develop young players that still have stuff to prove. VJ's played 1 season. Maxey had a great year, but in the postseason, there were points where he either ran out of gas or was not the guy you needed him to be for what he was asked to do for this team. You got to wait for the contracts to fall off. You got to hope those players continue to develop. You've got to build sustainably in the meantime. And even then, if all of that stuff goes right, you then have to cash in on either draft picks or the opportunity to sign free agents or maybe make a trade down the line that could push you in the right direction. All of that, the 2 to 3 years that you could have had to wait for, went out the window in the best possible way with this Jaylen Brown trade. It is one of the most shocking turns in one move that I've seen in the history of Philadelphia sports. And the incredulous nature, the I don't believe it, I feel like it's not real, that analogy was trying to illustrate there, it was something that we all had individually when we saw this news come down.
It made me so happy because to see Connor walk in the door today with that stupid-ass grin on his face from ear to ear. I saw more teeth today. I mean, like, it's just this grin
There
on his
it is.
face.
Yeah,
and then
for those
I
ones.
saw Austin on text last night. I could see Austin's face through text and that joy that he's feeling because I'm going to miss you guys. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys are going to have an amazing time with this Sixers story. And unfortunately, during my time with you guys here, the last 6 years, we have not had an amazing time with this Sixers story. We've had some moments where we thought something was going to happen.
Yeah.
This is going to be an amazing time. And I think of all the young Sixers fans that have been waiting. This is reality. This is a real opportunity. Mike Gansey, I love you. I love you. As a longtime Sixers fan, I love you. It's great.
Well, we still have another month with you, John.
You do, absolutely.
There's another shoe or maybe a couple of different shoes that could drop between now and then that you'll have an opportunity to discuss.
Absolutely.
Maybe a LeBron James signature shoe.
Oh my gosh,
we talked about that earlier.
If that was ever to fall, that's
about damn time.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, that'd be great. And again, though, the big deal is you got a guy in jail, and LeBron would be an amazing story. It'd be so much fun. But you got a guy in Jaylen Brown, though, who is a foundational piece to go on. I keep saying the legs of the stool.
Yeah.
Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown. I feel so damn good about the Sixers' chances to just create something that's sustainable and believable and interesting for years to come.
You should. Now,
and it hasn't been that way.
Let's talk to some of the people who had the reactions that we did yesterday, or maybe even stronger reactions. Let's go to the phone lines for the first time today. Jay in West Philly's been waiting patiently.
Oh, I
Jay,
love Jay.
how did you feel when you saw that Jaylen Brown news yesterday?
Hey, I was shocked.
I bet you were.
In the best way, right?
I couldn't believe it. I don't like doing trades with Boston and Dallas, but I was shocked on that one.
Jay,
Yeah,
it was
John.
incredible. Yes, sir.
John,
Yeah, buddy.
is the ink dry? You sure you want to leave? How much they paying you?
They're paying me well. They're paying me well, and I'm going to miss you guys. I'm going to miss you. And you promised me something, Jay? Jay, you don't let these clowns get after our boy Jaylen. And I'm not talking about my coworkers. I'm saying nobody gets after Jaylen. You got his back, right? I can leave town safely?
Always.
right.
Look, because, see, these guys still young.
These guys are good, though. These guys are good. You know, these aren't the clowns.
Yeah, I'll keep them in line.
All right, you do that.
Now, being as though cities is making trades, what we getting from Atlanta since you go?
I'm not sure, but when you roll through town sometime.
Magic City?
Check
Send us
me
some
out.
biscuits.
Magic City Wings?
All right, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Believe me, lemon pepper wings. Day one in studio, lemon pepper wings will be there for me. I know that. Yes.
Man, now this go to a little DeCecco. You know what's gonna happen now. You
What's
know
that?
Howie over in that room. He pacing. You know, he's not the front. He's not the front page now. He pacing. Something gonna happen.
Yeah, you know how it goes, Jay. You've been in the city long enough to know how this works.
Something gonna happen. A contract extension or a trade or something going down. Howie over there pacing right there.
Oh, he's got a Jaylen of own. Jay, thanks for checking in, man.
Love you,
We're
brother.
happy you're happy this
I
morning.
love Jay's energy. Always brings it, man.
Oh, yeah, he's excited.
Jay and I, brothers in arms on, we're Hurts. People go, you're Hurts apologist. Yeah, if I have to be an apologist for the greatest quarterback, arguably, in success in the franchise's history, I'll be an apologist.
Maybe a Jalen Carter move to counter the Sixers' Jaylen Brown move. Who knows? That's been something that we've talked about this offseason. We're going to get some of the depth questions answered by Andrew DeCecco in the 9 o'clock hour as well. So we'll get into a little bit of Eagles talk as the show continues. I just love how happy everybody is today. I love that.
It's beautiful. It's been so long coming. It's been just so long coming that this team gives you something to go, wow, this is eye-opening. This is going to be great.
I'm glad you said eye-opening. So there was a perspective shift for me yesterday as a Sixers fan. So the move happens, all the excitement, all of that. And I'm on my way to go watch Team USA play, and the Phillies are on. So my brain's going a billion different places.
You were going to a bar, let's be honest.
Yeah, and when it finally settles down, I started thinking, okay, well, the Eastern Conference has actually been really interesting this offseason already in the NBA. A lot of stuff going on. And my reaction as a Sixers fan was, whatever. Because we've got Joe locked up and Paul George locked up, and I know Maxey and Edgecombe are going to be here, and Philon's nice. Dean Wade, it moves the needle a little bit, but you kind of felt like you were on the outside looking in. Like
everybody else is shopping and you're not getting anything.
Not only that, but like the Giannis trade, that doesn't really affect you. You're not true contenders. What Boston's doing doesn't affect you. You're not true contenders. I mean, Toronto getting Kawhi, whatever. I mean, you're not competing for a championship. So all of that stuff kind of felt like it existed in a world outside of where the Sixers' focus was.
Yeah, kind of like you're in the line trying to get into the party.
Yeah.
But they're at capacity and you're forced to watch.
I don't care about the drink specials at the club I can't get into.
Right.
And guess what? That bouncer just let you, he moved the velvet rope. He said, hey, you're next up, buddy. So now I'm looking around and I'm saying, oh, okay, who's at this party? So let's just.
You said buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I buddied him. That's probably why he didn't let me in.
Oh, man. At least you didn't say sport.
So let's look around at the players in the Eastern Conference and how things have shifted right now. You still got the Knicks. They're the favorite to win the Eastern Conference this year, this morning.
So do you know what it was yesterday?
I don't.
That's what I was
don't have the
wondering,
change.
how much it shifted.
The Sixers jumped significantly, but the Knicks are still the defending champs.
Yes.
The only piece they've really lost of note for them is Mitchell Robinson going
big
to the
loss.
Celtics.
That's a big loss.
It is. He was a guy that was.
You consider him would he be considered their sixth man?
Yeah, depending on who they play, he could be in the starting lineup for that team if they needed more size.
That's a big loss to me, though.
He is, but he was a guy that at points was unplayable in the postseason because you're just going to put him on the line. That changes a little bit for them, but their core's still intact. The Knicks are a problem. They will be the team that everyone's gunning to knock off. They're the defending champs. The Toronto Raptors are interesting. They're kind of in the mix. The Kawhi thing, he had a great season this past year. People might have missed it because that Clippers team wasn't good, but he had a really good season. The thing you got to remember about him is he's in the Joel Embiid camp. If he's healthy, he's really good.
And he's constantly hurt.
But he's just not that healthy. And they don't really have too many pieces around him where I look at them as a team you overly have to worry about. Milwaukee and Miami, I think, are tied with the
You
Giannis
think they're
trade.
worried about? I'm not worried about Milwaukee or Miami against the Sixers.
Oh, I don't mean even. I mean they're just tied together with the way that you should look at them.
Yeah.
In that Giannis goes to Miami, but he and Bam aren't enough together. And Milwaukee doesn't get enough return from Miami in that trade to the point where they can be contenders.
Okay.
So neither of those teams are one that I'm overly worried about. And then you have the weird Pistons-Cavs dynamic. So the Cavs are a team that feels like they've got talent but not enough to get over the hump. And we'll have to see what they do with the James Harden situation, how that plays out.
And he took less money to stay.
Yeah.
Because I think they wanted to see if they want to have the money to be able to get LeBron.
Right. If he goes there, well, then we've got a whole nother set of issues to talk about. The Pistons have kind of, the Cavs almost dismantled them by beating them in the postseason. The rough and tough Pistons that you saw this year, they are not set on paying Jaylen Duren. They don't know what they're going to do. Tobias Harris just got another. He just went to the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, the
Somehow
Spurs,
he's still getting paid.
Are one of the smartest organizations in basketball. Won them.
He's like the Chase Daniel.
Yeah, he is.
When
The
he
Kirk
gets
Cousins,
the way
maybe.
that they hand out contracts to him, man.
And they like him.
But the Pistons are not going to be the team that they were because they've essentially dismantled things after their postseason. So that's what's happened in the East. All of that now takes on new light.
Yeah, now you're interested.
Yes.
You looked at all those things like I did. I didn't ever want to talk about them on this show because I really didn't care about them. Now, I care about all of them. Now I care about all of them because
Everything's on the table now.
Yes, because now it's like, okay, that matters now.
It's time to reevaluate, baby.
Now it all matters.
So coming up, we're going to get into our Twitter poll responses so far and where the numbers are at on that with the where this trade ranks in all-time Philadelphia sports lore. We're also going to take a look at some other free agency. We have to mention the Flyers, who made a couple of big contract moves yesterday.
And one move I don't want them to make.
Okay, a move we don't want them to make.
Well, you may.
All right, we'll have that
don't.
conversation coming up next, and more of your reaction to Jaylen Brown being traded to the Sixers. We're nearly 3 hours into the show, and it still doesn't feel real. It is Kincade Salciunas, Andrew DiCecco in studio with us here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Baseball season's in full swing, and you can trade every single game on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every game, futures, and even the all-star events that are going to be right here in the city of brotherly love. And Philadelphia, another game against Pittsburgh today. They've won the last two. They just got to Paul Skeens last night. Philadelphia's trading at a 55% probability to beat Pittsburgh today in some day baseball at the bank. They would take the series if they did so. A $100 trade on that pays out $176 if Philadelphia does indeed win their third straight game today. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. So for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and make sure you use code Fanatic because you're going to get $10 when you trade 10 when you put in that promo code. Again, it's Fanatic, Kalshi. Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory.
Got something to say about Philly sports?
Oh, my goodness. I can't even collect my thoughts on a day like today. There's so much bouncing around in this dumb old head of mine with the move that was made yesterday.
All right, one of my cousins needs your shirt.
Oh, yeah?
Where'd you get the shirt?
No clue. I got it as a gift.
So you have no idea where the shirt comes from?
Nope. It was a Christmas gift this past year. I like this shirt,
the
though.
shirt. No, it is being sought after.
Yeah. Well, this
John,
one's
you got to
mine.
get up and go over behind Connor's neck and just look at the tag.
Yeah, we'll do a tag check next break. We'll see if we can figure out
I'll
where
let
the shirt's
another
from.
grown man do that, but we can check into that later.
Yeah,
and I know
it's
it won't
not
be
gonna be
DeCecco.
me.
It
It
won't
will
be
not be
DeCecco.
me.
I didn't
I got
notice.
you,
I
Connor.
didn't even ask. I didn't even ask. DeCecco's not doing that.
Get Rodman out of the back to go do this.
That shirt is getting popular reviews. That's a good shirt. I've never seen that shirt.
Wow, they haven't given me much reason to wear it recently, the Philadelphia 76ers, but today's one
But
of
it
those
looks
days.
vintage, but it doesn't look. It's a good looking shirt.
Yeah.
Good club. Good club.
It's a good shirt, and I'm happy to be wearing it today. Checking the tag on Jaylen Brown, he was nowhere near as expensive as people around the league thought he was going to be. Paul George, 2 firsts and 2 seconds of the return. The Sixers out from under the Paul George contract, and they turn it into a superstar. Mike Yancey, Bob Myers, you guys are magical. We love you so much today. This is insane. And they're not the only team making moves. We are going to do a quick check-in on the Flyers in a second. We're also going to check our Twitter poll. But I want to hear from more people on this and your reaction to it. We've talked to this guy a bunch. He calls us all the time on the Sixers. Stan from Drexel Hill is live here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Stan, how awesome of a day is this?
This is. I'm actually a little sad because John, I haven't been able to listen. I've been really busy, so this is the first time in a while. So to hear that you're leaving us is kind of it's bittersweet, man. To find out the news about Jaylen Brown and then right after that, I wish you the best, man.
Thanks, buddy.
I know it's not immediate. I know you guys.
Yeah, I'll be here till the end of the month, so we can do all those
yeah.
goodbyes later.
Got you, but it was just dope, meeting you and talking to you and everything.
Always
like that.
enjoyed it. You're my favorite. You're my favorite Sixers caller. Favorite NBA caller. I got to tell you.
And I really do. I really appreciate that. And it's so funny because, for me, I looked at it, and before the trade, I was looking at some of the, the marginal pieces that the Sixers did, and I said, okay, this makes you a little bit better. I wasn't always a fan of Kelly Oubre. Grimes was, very inconsistent. So I said I liked a guy like Dean Wade. I thought that could help you, but realistically, you're just talking about potentially being a top 5 seed in the East if Embiid is healthy, right? You were 1 game away from that. Last year, you were playing with Embiid playing 38, Paul George being suspended. So I was talking myself into just, maybe I can get 5 seed, 4 seed if I'm lucky. You look at this, man, it just changes everything. Like, you literally, I saw Jaylen Brown take a team that was supposed to be projected a lottery team, playing team, to 50-plus wins. And I understand things are different. The dynamics are different. But, man, listen, with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, you now have 3 guys who are actually going to play, like, a significant majority of the season.
Stan, I want to know real quick,
that
Stan.
alone should win you. That should win you a bunch of games. This team, to me, should finish no less than 3. And
I would agree with that today. I'm saying no less than 3.
That'd be awesome.
Fair.
No, I got to hear
They
from you,
should.
man. When you got the notification on your phone, because I know you got the Shams notifications on, you're zoned in. Like, what was your reaction being such a big Sixers fan?
So this is the funny thing, right? I will let y'all know. I was actually having dinner, right? I'm sitting down. Yesterday was my fiance's birthday, so we were having a nice little dinner and everything. Thanks, I appreciate it. We're having dinner, and I got my watch on and everything, so I have Shams on. I got the notification, but I didn't look at it. I just felt the little vibration on my wrist, but I didn't look at it. And then immediately, one of my boys calls me, who doesn't typically call me. We just talk in the group chat a lot and text and stuff like that. So when he called me, I said, wait, something had to go down. And I kind of swiped down, and I saw Jaylen Brown in a black jersey. And I just kind of put like he went to Portland. I thought maybe Portland traded for him or something. And then my man said to me, yeah, congratulations. And I said, wait, what? He said, oh, you didn't see the news? And then I pull down the full thing, and I watch, and I read it. And I said, no way, this is real. And I'm thinking I'm getting trolled, man. I'm like, there's got to be a fake Shams account or something.
Nah, man, it's real.
My girl looked at me, and my kids looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, yo, why is he jumping out of like? I'm like, yo, like y'all don't understand what just happened right now, And it's not that JB is the best player in the world, but to get somebody of his status in his prime at this point, like think about how happy we were for James Harden, and now you're getting a guy who's a proven winning player.
Yes,
who can do these things. Like,
that's the key.
And then lastly. The last thing I'm gonna say, isn't it funny how life works, guys? You trade a champion high-level player named Brown to Massachusetts just to get one in return.
How
That's
funny
hilarious
is
to me.
that? That's how the world works.
All right, y'all, take it easy, man.
Take care, buddy.
You too, man. I love Stan.
Smiling
man.
through the phone.
He is my.
You can hear it.
He's my favorite, the favorite guy to talk Sixers with from the time I returned. He's my favorite. And I always feel like I learn something when he calls.
I imagine a lot of dinners around the Philadelphia area were disrupted last night based on phones going off. You got to explain. Have a nice weekend. Give back to the family because I know you guys' minds were somewhere else last night with the Jaylen Brown news coming down. Now, there was other news yesterday, so, Johnny, I want to get into this quick because, of course, the Flyers, they've got a really interesting offseason going on, too.
They do.
2 big-time contract moves yesterday.
Love
Tyson Forrester.
Love it. Tyson Forrester signs a long-term extension. That is fantastic. He's a fantastic piece. The price isn't bad. Dan Vladar, long-term extension. Price is fantastic.
Yeah, 5 years,
Vladar.
5.5 for Vladar, 8 years, 7.1 annual value for Forrester.
I love both deals.
So you have no issue with any of this? Because I saw some people upset about like the length of the contract.
I do not at all have no problem with either deal. Tyson Forrester, for God's sakes, if you ever stand next to Tyson and you talk to him, he's barely shaving. I mean, seriously, shush if you have a problem with the length of the deal. Now, there's talk about them trying to reunite with Claude Giroux.
Not in on that?
No.
I saw your tweet. Yeah.
Claude Giroux screwed over the franchise on the way out the door. You want to forgive it? Fine. You want to forgive it? Fine. And you want to say that they did well with what they got for him? Fine. But when he had a chance to do right by this fan base and this franchise on the way out the door, he said, screw you. He said, I'm going to Colorado or I'm going to Florida. That's it.
But can he help the team right now?
Okay,
I don't really...
He can. But again, he didn't give a flip about us to you. Okay, Connor. Again, to you, that doesn't matter. I'm speaking for me.
No, I know.
To me, it matters. To me, it matters that he had no loyalty. He was here for his entire career. And on the way out the door, he had no loyalty to the franchise. He said, you can only trade me 2 places. I got a no trade me 2 places. He dictated everything, which really limited. Credit the Flyers organization for doing a great job of getting something really good and making it good. That's by the grace of God that they did.
Yeah.
So Claude Giroux, no, I don't want him back because you know what? When he had a chance to show I really loved being a Flyer, I really loved this organization, he didn't do it. He didn't do it.
I'm not trying to take that opinion away from you. Like you're fine to feel that way. My biggest thing is it's an older player for a team that's in a rebuilding window, and I'm just interested if he fits what the team is looking for on the ice.
No, he could. Does he help this team? Sure. Is he better? Is he better than what they got? Sure. But the thing I don't want is the hero welcome thing for Claude Giroux. Bring Claude back. When Claude was going out the door, he was flipping you the bird.
Yeah.
So now you want to sit there and you want to worship him? You want to put on your Claude Giroux jerseys and forget about it all? You feel free to do that.
Well, I just want the team to win.
No,
I think generally that's what people want. Does he make the team better?
Well, no, he makes the team better. He's going to be like a third line guy.
Right.
But he makes the team better. Your roster is absolutely better. I cannot argue that.
Yeah, because
I'm going to tell you, it matters to me, the guy you bring back, that the guy didn't give a flip about this franchise on the way out the door.
I don't think you're alone in that. I just saw like the guard at Hathaway trade as a 34-year-old, and I'm like, they've got a young core here. They have told us. Danny told us earlier this week. Danny Briere, veteran leadership is where we look most.
But
so I want to make sure.
But it was a locker room that had poor veteran leadership when he was here.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that could be a concern.
So I mean, and he was the reason.
Yeah, well,
like he wasn't a good veteran leader. Like
right,
it wasn't.
That's more what I'm talking about
here. Like to me,
with this.
he didn't deliver the veteran leadership, so that's what I worry.
Right. How does he fit within the culture?
Right.
And if that's something that you don't think is right for the team in the day and age,
he didn't deliver veteran leadership when he was here, so they had to go out and worry about the veteran leadership. So that's where I'm at.
I think that's valid. We'll talk about Jaylen Brown a little bit more coming up next.
But I'm a guy who holds a grudge, so there it is. So
we do know that.
Yes, you are.
Exactly.
We're going to talk a little bit more about the big Jaylen Brown news, and Tony Jones of The Athletic breaks this down with us. Does he have an answer as to how in the world it happened? We will ask him next here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, tomorrow morning, I'm getting out and playing golf on our day off before the heat really kicks in. Now, my buddy Joe could be cleaning out his garage, but instead, he's going to be playing golf with me because he's never picked up a bagster, the dumpster in a bag. At his garage, it's a dumpster. It really is. He needs a bagster. He could have gotten one at Home Depot, Lowe's, or a local home improvement store. It's just $29.99. And then he could set up a Bagster, set it up in the driveway, and clean out that garage finally. Look, the Bagster's so easy. And you just pick it up, you carry it out right under your arm. It's lightweight. You set it up. I've set up a Bagster. It's simple to use. Then you just fill it when you want to fill it. And then you set up the collection when you're done filling it. And then they take it away. It's the dumpster in a bag. You've heard me say it a million times. And it's just $29.99. What's your excuse? Why do you keep putting off finally getting rid of all that junk that's in your garage? All that stuff that's been cluttering up your home? Get rid of it with the Bagster. The dumpster in a bag.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jaylen Brown, come on down. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The 76ers traded for Finals MVP Jaylen Brown from the rival Celtics per ESPN's Shams Charania. The 76ers traded Paul George and 2 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks for the almighty wing. Here's Shams on the trade.
Mike Gansey, the Sixers' new president, just stuck around for the party, waiting for that price to continue to drop and deplete. He didn't make the Irish goodbye like some other teams did.
Tony Jones is going to be up next from The Athletic to provide more information from the trade. The Flyers have signed Dan Vladar and Tyson Forster, both the long-term extensions to keep them here in Philadelphia. The team does have a scrimmage later today at 6 p.m. over in Voorhees, and it's open to the public. Down at Citizens Bank Park, the Phillies jumped on Paul Skeens for 7 earned runs and took home a win. Today, Alan Ronhell will be on the mound versus Jared Jones, with first pitch being at 12:35. If you're going down to the ballpark, make sure you're hydrated. This update is brought to you by Macom Group. The Macom Group supports contractors with one of the largest PFE inventories, from pipe, valve, and fittings to trusted brands, and count on the Macom Group to help you stay on the schedule. Visit MacomGroup.com, MacomGroup.com today. I'm Austin Jones, at the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic, and the Fanatic app.
See a team in this city make. Jaylen Brown for Paul George, 2 firsts and 2 seconds.
You look at tweet, a text, and I got the word from you guys that happened. I immediately start checking and saying, that can't be real, because it doesn't seem real. But for the Philadelphia 76ers, their fan base, this is earth-shattering. I don't know that I would say you're playing for a championship next year, but you're damn close to being it. You're very much in the discussion.
This move is easily bigger than those moves. You had teams that were on the brink of finding their way to glory that added a piece that put them over the top. This was a team that was stuck in no man's land. And when we looked at it, they were locked in. Just yesterday, we had a conversation where I talked to Flyers and Sixers fans, and I said, hey, Flyers fans, your team is choosing to sit this out because they don't believe they're close enough to make a big move. Sixers fans are the ones who should be mad because the contracts they have have restricted them from making some of the big moves that you've seen around the NBA? Oh, they weren't restricted. Not with Mike Gansey and Bob Myers working the phones. They moved the contract that seemed locked in for the next couple of years.
When I saw a couple first-round picks and everything, the way the NBA is, I'm like, I sort of don't care because I know Jaylen Brown's fine.
Yeah.
And I know the young core that they have is fine. I don't really give a flip, but it is important to know what they gave up.
The 76ers just reverse sweep the Boston Celtics, and then they traded, arguably, at this point in time, their best player to their rival. It's just unheard of.
We'll get into all this as the show continues. Clearly, plenty to break down with this one. The question for you today, too, if you need a question, we'll take your reaction. Sixers fans, how back are you? How back in on this team are you? 610-632-0975.
Now back to the show.
I've honestly not seen anything like it in a long, long time, maybe ever in my sports fandom. The amount of turnaround that a fan base could have. Because I don't think I've ever seen us in a spot the way that we've been with the Philadelphia 76ers. Like, this was I don't want to say dead fan base, but a couple of months ago, you were in a playoff series against a rival, a division rival, and they took over your building while your team on the floor laid down at the end of their postseason run. And where that left the fan base was, we've got two contracts that we cannot move. People are telling us left and right it would be a Herculean effort to even find a trade partner for one of those guys. You have a young core that needs to develop, but you don't trust the guy in charge. That guy loses his job in Daryl Morey. You keep a head coach that people have questions about in Nick Nurse. It was such a tumultuous spot for the Philadelphia 76ers fandom. And it did not feel like you were going to get out of the rough waters for a period of years. And all of that, it feels like almost a parable from the Bible. You're on the rough seas, and the next thing you know, the clouds just dissipate in front of your very eyes, and you are on calm, smooth sailing waters with a trade for Jaylen Brown. The Paul George contract is now out of your hair, and you give up just 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks to do so, getting a superstar player back.
Yeah, and one foul swoop. They've just altered the course of how everyone's viewing the 2026 Sixers. And I don't know that I've fully wrapped my head around this move, Connor, but I don't think it's hyperbole to, everything that we've been saying that they're in the mix to contend for a championship. They are. A lot of factors have to work in their favor, health with Joel Embiid, namely, but they are certainly in the mix, and he's going to completely transform this basketball team. And what I would like to reemphasize is the availability that Jaylen Brown has had. 71 games he played in last season, and there's a track record of dependability that he brings.
What I'm thinking, too, is that we've seen that with hopefully Maxey can stay healthy, and you can see that with the youngsters that they've got. The New York Knicks, hopefully it's a copycat league. The last 2 champions of the NBA had their starters. They don't do load management. Oklahoma City and the Knicks don't practice load management. Maybe load management will become a thing of the past, and teams will start to play their players.
One can hope.
Yes.
Now, here's the big question in all of this that none of us have the answer to. We know what happened. We know generally where it puts the Sixers. We will still ask those things of our next guest, Tony Jones of The Athletic, who will join us in a second here on Kincade Salciunas. But what we need to know is how in the world did this happen? How did Boston accept this return? How did the Sixers get this deal done? Where did it come from? Nobody seemed to have any idea. So let's bring on our next guest. Tony Jones does great work covering the Sixers for The Athletic. Tony, do you have any idea how we got here, how the Celtics accepted this return? How did this trade happen?
So I can tell you that as of 90 minutes before the trade went down, not even Paul George's people thought that this was going to happen at that point. And, this was something that came together relatively quick, and it came together quick because the Celtics just believed that this was the best package that they were going to get. And, they had to accept it. For the Celtics, they had to get Jaylen Brown out of their building. But the Sixers have been around for a while with the package saying, hey, Boston, if, you want to trade Jaylen to Philadelphia, we're interested. But the Celtics, asking price was above what the Sixers were comfortable with giving or could even give, factually. And, it got to the point where, Boston kept canvassing the lead. They kept canvassing the league. The returns weren't great. The packages weren't great. And, they slowly, decided that, they had to lower the asking price. And, in the end, Mike Gamzee was the one that was there.
Does it worry you that a talent like Jaylen Brown was out there at such a discount bargain price and that he was on the market and nobody was really picking at it for that cost?
It's interesting, and I wrote this in the column yesterday. I was the only writer in the NBA with a vote who voted Jaylen Brown second in the MVP in the MVP race. That's where I voted him last year, and I also voted him first team All NBA. I thought he was that good. I thought he was, the work that he did in terms of, taking Boston to, the second seed in the Eastern Conference, career highs all across the board, 28 points, 7 rebounds, essentially 5 assists a game. So it's interesting for me that, the negative backlash that he's received. I think some of it is warranted. I don't think you can go on Twitch and just start criticizing people publicly the way he did. I thought that, his comments of this being the best season that he's at or his favorite season, I could see how it could have been off-putting to a bunch of people. But, apparently, when you make a trade like Brad Stevens just made, which is you take a star in his prime who is pretty obviously one of the top 10 players in the league during the season, and you make I got to get you out of my building trade, it does kind of raise some eyebrows. But, it doesn't matter if you're the Sixers. If you can get a Jaylen Brown and get off of Paul George's contract, and at the same time, and you can upgrade the talent level, you have to take that chance. And, you have to make the trade, and that's what the Sixers were able to do.
Tony, you also wrote about on The Athletic and reported last night that the Sixers are among the teams that have expressed interest in LeBron James. In your estimation, what are some of the factors that could make Philadelphia, make the connection work?
Well, it makes sense from a basketball sense right now because, the Sixers have one of the best, groups of 4 in the league, and Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown and Joel Embiid and VJ Eshkam. And all of a sudden now 3 of the 4 are now durable instead of 2 of the 4, which is what you had in Paul George. So, it makes, a lot of sense basketball-wise because, LeBron could come to Philadelphia and slot pretty seamlessly into the power forward spot. And, you have your innings eater now with Jaylen Brown, your regular season innings eater. And if you're LeBron, you can kind of coast and kind of, get your body ready for a postseason run and kind of, be ready to kind of turn it on in that way. But I don't think it's going to come down to all of that. I think it's going to come down to some other factors. I think that those are factors that, only LeBron and Rich Paul and LeBron's family and those close to him are going to surmise. So, the best that the Sixers can do is, put their hat in the ring, which is, what I reported that they've done. They've made contact with, those close to LeBron, and they've made it clear that they're interested in potentially acquiring him. So, it's just going to come down to what LeBron is comfortable with and what the factors are, with LeBron and the people that are close to him that matter the most.
We're talking to Tony Jones, does a great work covering the Sixers for The Athletic, breaking down the Jaylen Brown trade for us and his report on LeBron James and the Sixers' interest there. Now, who do we build the statue of today? Is it Mike Gansey? Is it Bob Myers? More seriously on the question, what is the breakdown of who was more responsible or what the pie chart bears out for how this move got done from the Sixers' perspective?
Well, I think that, there's a thought that Bob Myers is the one that's making the decisions. And I think that, that's correct in the sense that he makes the final sign off. But, this is Mike Gansey's show, like 100%. Like, he's doing the work. He's, he and Jameer Nelson are making the decisions on what to do. The final recommendation goes to Bob Myers, and Bob will sign off or not sign off on the final recommendation. But the show, the work is Mike Gansey. So, if there's somebody that deserves praise in all this, I mean, I would definitely think it's Mike Gansey, and I would definitely think, that it's Jameer Nelson. I mean, not only, the Jaylen Brown thing, but now in hindsight, the Dean Wade signing makes a ton of difference. I mean, a ton of sense now in terms of bringing a 6'9", switchable defender into the fray, who makes 36% of his 3-point shots. Now, he's pretty much a perfect fit for what the Sixers have as a fifth option right now. So, it's been pretty much an A+, or at least an A off season, for the Sixers and for Gansey. And, they still have some work to do on the roster. The LeBron thing aside, let's say that they don't really have, that much of a chance of getting LeBron. You still have to fill out the roster with, at least one guy and possibly multiple guys as we head, towards more free agency.
Last thing for you here, Tony, because I'm sure your week just got a lot busier out of nowhere yesterday afternoon. When you look at the Eastern Conference, I don't think Sixers fans have really evaluated where the Sixers stand because of the thought of them being kind of stuck in the middle ground. Where do they now sit in the hierarchy of a very interesting East?
Well, I think that trade changes the calculus, and it changes not only their postseason calculus, but it changes their regular season calculus, because before the trade, you're relying on Paul George and Joel Embiid to play a lot of games, and I just don't know how realistic that is. You could say that, yeah, we want those guys available, and you can say that all you want to, but, the reality is in the last, 2 to 3 seasons, I mean, those guys just have not been available. So now you're trading, Paul George out, who I think was very, very good last year. But he was very, very good as a role player. And, you trading him out for a star. Jaylen Brown is a star. And, not only is Jaylen Brown a star, he's a star who's available. So now, in addition to Tyrese Maxey and VJ Eskam, who, are pretty much always available, Jaylen Brown will also be, almost always available. So it changes the regular season calculus as well as the postseason calculus. It makes them more Joel Embiid proof because, if Embiid plays 40 games, that's fine. You still have 2 other All-NBA guys that are playing a lot of games. So, they went that one move for me. It takes them from, 8th to 10th in the conference. And it puts them right in the mix for, being for a top 4 seed in the conference. It's similar to the move that Toronto made to get Kawhi Leonard. It was similar to that kind of move in terms of impact.
Well, appreciate you breaking it down with us, Tony. We always love reading your work and talking to you, and we'll be catching up this offseason. I'm sure it's going to get crazier, too. So we'll be in touch with you, and everybody should be following your stuff.
Thanks Tony.
Man.
Thanks, Tony.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
There he is, Tony Jones of The Athletic, joining us here on
He's had a really
Kincade
good
Salciunas.
rookie year.
Yeah, dude.
But he's a Philly guy, but he's had a rookie year.
I don't think he's missing
outstanding.
Utah very much.
Yeah, he's outstanding.
No, he's not. He's
Great stuff there. He had the initial report on the interest in LeBron James yesterday from the Sixers' perspective, and more saying that throwing your hat in the ring is what the Sixers are doing here. It
I
will be up to
don't
him.
see it. I don't see it happening. But
hey, doesn't really matter now. Jaylen Brown being here.
No, it's great.
That is a huge
such
win.
great news.
And I can't believe that the market was not there, but that's essentially what happened. The Celtics were shopping Jaylen Brown. They wanted to trade him for Giannis. That deal doesn't get done. Then he's still out there on the market, and there weren't buyers with the capital that I guess the Sixers had.
And I think that's the whole key is that it's like people weren't. It just wasn't there wasn't a market for him.
Hey, we'll take him.
No, we'll take him.
We will take him.
I mean, really, you look at it, though, as Tony pointed out, 6-7 teams probably could have afforded him. So you're not talking about the entire league said, we don't want Jaylen Brown.
Right.
It was a portion of teams that wanted him, that could have afforded him, and then they had to make a choice.
I don't get how you don't see, like, the Sixers were stuck in that market themselves, trying to market Paul George and, to a lesser extent, Joel Embiid, because it's a longer deal, and they're like, we can't find anybody. And Boston's just like, yeah, I'm your Huckleberry. Like, I'll step into the worst trade market in the NBA for trying to move a max contract player you don't want anymore. But, hey, we're better off for it. And people are excited today. We have a voice memo, I understand.
I love the voice memo.
On the Jaylen Brown trade. I want to hear people's voices today. What do we have, Austin?
This is Xavier from Newtown.
Hey, good morning, y'all. Xavier from Newtown Square. Look, I got a different type of energy today. I work outside. It's going to be 100-something degrees outside. I could care less. I cannot believe this happened. My wife thought that there was a death in the family. She thought that I want money. I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even get it out. The suspicion in her face. And then to let her know what happened, she probably pissed at me the rest of the day. Yo, I can't believe it. You don't just get rid of Paul George's contract and just get a superstar. That just doesn't happen.
Well,
now,
guess what, Xavier? It does happen.
Here's what I don't understand about Xavier. First of all, would you please get it straight, Austin? We've gone into this, and Rodman's going to get mad. Newtown Square and Newtown are two different places. But Xavier, your wife thinks you make the same sound if you win money or if there's a death in the family?
Hey, maybe he's got rich family members.
Well, or maybe you hate your family members.
He said he was lost for words is what he was trying to. That's what he was saying.
Death in the family or won money. Yeah, but the thing is, though, lost for words. There's a difference.
I get the spirit of what he's trying to say. And stay hydrated out there, my man.
Oh, my gosh. Can't even imagine it.
That makes a day like today easy, though. If you're out there in the 102-degree heat, could be worse.
By the way.
You could be a Boston Celtics fan.
By the way, get some pickle juice.
Yeah, that worked for you?
Played yesterday, had 6 ounces of pickle juice.
It worked for Deuce Staley and the Eagles in 2000.
It did.
Absolutely.
Deuce.
The old pickle juice game. Speaking of the Eagles, Andrew has some depth news for the Eagles that we're going to get into coming up
I
next.
like that there's a little sprinkling of some Eagles
Oh,
news.
we have to. If we got Andrew DeCecco in studio,
like
you know
that.
we're not going to miss on talking on the Birds. But we've got the big story of the Jaylen Brown trade. And also, John's got his eyes on one of the Phillies' top pitchers.
Uh-huh.
Does that pitcher have his eyes on his manager?
Not
a
happy.
lot of stuff coming your way. It is one of the busiest days of the year here on Kincade and Salciunas. Do not go anywhere. We're back after this on 97.5 The Fanatic.
All right, let me tell you that you want to make your downtime fun time. You want the BetParks app. The BetParks app is so awesome. It's absolutely the best. The United States plays Belgium Monday. It's the knockout round continuing, and you're going to want to be part of it at BetParks Casino. The BetParks Casino is awesome. But it's a round of 16 match Monday night, 8 o'clock. They join Mexico, Canada, Brazil, Paraguay, Morocco, Norway, France, Belgium, England. The knockout round continues today. It's win or be eliminated in the World Soccer Tournament. So 3 matches today. Spain playing Australia. Portugal playing Croatia, Switzerland playing Algeria. You can live bet on the knockout round. It's better on the BetParks online sportsbook and casino app. Gosh, I'm going to miss being able to wager anytime right there on my phone. I've gotten addicted. I love it. It's so much fun because you know what I do? $2 here, $1 here, $3 here. The BetParks app makes it so easy to be part of their World Soccer Hub right there in the app with odds boost, team and player props for all the World Soccer games. Plus, right now, new users can get up to $500 in casino bonus back, plus 500 bonus spins on the new soccer-themed online slot game. Go, go, go! Collect them. So bet on your favorite teams. Make your downtime fun time. Join me on the BetParks online and casino sports app. Hey, terms and conditions apply at betparks.com. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan. Could you get these guys down to Georgia, please? Hey, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jaylen Brown, come on down to Philly. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. The 76ers traded for Finals MVP Jaylen Brown from the rival Celtics. Per ESPN Shams Charania, the Sixers traded Paul George, 2 first-round draft picks and 2 second-round draft picks for Jaylen Brown. And Tony Jones of The Athletic just joined us, and he quickly said that this deal came together.
It came together quick because the Celtics just believed that this was the best package that they were going to get. You know, they had to accept it. For the Celtics, they had to get Jaylen Brown out of their building. But the Sixers have been around for a while.
You can listen to the full interview on our YouTube page. That's 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers signed Dan Vladar and Tyson Forster to long-term contract extensions, tying them to the city of Philadelphia. The team does have a scrimmage that's going to take place later today over in Voorhees. That's starting at 6 o'clock. It is open to the public. The Phillies beat up on the Pirates yesterday as they took Paul's games for 7 earned runs. They are back out there today at 12:35 with Alan Rangel on the mound against Jared Jones. First pitch is slated for 12:35. And in the World Cup, the U.S. defeated Bosnia 2-0 and will face Belgium in Seattle Monday night with the match beginning at 8. This update is brought to you by Staples. Staples Easy Deals are here. Now you can score up to 50% off more than 1,000 products in-store, online. Hurry in Staples today. It all ends July 4th. Staples, that was easy. I'm Austin Jones at the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincade Salciunas is presented to you by The Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. You need details? Go to Bagster.com.
It has been a busy day here on Kincade and Salciunas. We've talked to a lot of people about the Jaylen Brown news. The Sixers acquiring a superstar player for Paul George, 2 first and 2 second-round picks. Now, there was a little bit of questioning about the first-round picks and whether or not the Sixers had kept the 2028 Clippers pick, which is their most valuable asset. That is going to be in the 2028 first that was part of this trade. Boston is going to get the better of either that Clippers pick or the Sixers pick. Most likely it will be the Clippers pick in that year. So that is in the trade if indeed the Clippers pick ends up more valuable. Bottom line, don't care. You moved off of Paul George. You got a superstar player back. This is a trade that has befuddled the league. I think people are still coming to terms with it this morning nationally.
Get excited!
That's absolutely right, Tom McGinnis. You should get excited.
There you go. Tom McGinnis is going to be excited. Boy, I think of Tom McGinnis this morning.
Yeah.
Think of Tom McGinnis and people like that. I mean, I think of all the people that are just going to be just thrilled with this news. It's so beautiful.
They're going to be juiced.
By the way, the Wild Collective.
Yeah, that's where the shirt is
That's
from.
who made Connor's shirt. Now, I will just say somebody loved you because it's expensive.
Oh, okay.
It's expensive stuff.
Shout out my mom.
Your mom loves you, dude. Now, your mom is just a wonderful lady, but she loves you.
Yeah, I appreciate her.
I would hope so, yeah.
But you've spent some money. Betty Kincade would never have spent that money on me.
I was very thankful for receiving this shirt.
I would have
do
gotten
not
like
know
the
how it
Walmart
costs.
shirt, the Walmart Sixers shirt.
Well, I'll tell you what wasn't expensive. Jaylen Brown, based on what he can bring to this organization. Now, we talked to a lot of people. Andrew Salciunas joined us via Zoom.
That was
start
fun.
The 7 o'clock hour. Amy Fadul at 7:30. Last segment, we just talked to Tony Jones of The Athletic. And we've heard from a lot of you out there listening. The text line has been on fire all day. The Davis Honda text line, you can feel the Davis difference at Davis Honda in Burlington. What do we have on the text line on the Jaylen Brown deal?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of Throwback Thursday for our guy John C. in Tennessee. He said everyone in the city should have hope that any of our 4 major sports teams could potentially win it all at some point over the next few years. Feels like the early 80s when I was a kid.
See, now that's a peer of mine, so you could feel it. The Sixers were so good, so consistently good, and getting to play in the finals. I mean, you were in the finals. They weren't just a good team that was knocking on the door like the Phillies have been good these last few years. The Sixers were in the finals and losing.
Yeah, I've never really seen it.
This is awesome.
I was 7 when they went to the finals with Allen Iverson. Like, I need this, man. They owe it to people of my generation to have this level of competitiveness. We didn't think it was coming for a couple of years. I was ready to put them on the back burner. And yesterday changes all of that.
This is absolutely awesome.
They're in the front right burner.
And the Sixers, by the way,
left.
I was 12 when the Sixers, 2001.
8:51 a.m. The excitement's on the rise. Lock in your season ticket plan today.
There it is.
Because I buy tickets to games. I got it from the Society 76. Lock in your tickets. They already had the approach there. Jaylen Brown, a part of it.
Hey, if I remember anything from being in ticket sales, today's price is not yesterday's price, so make sure you get in while you can, people.
See?
Absolutely.
Man, I'll tell you. At least you have something to fall back on should this thing ever fall apart.
Yeah, you never know.
And that texter, John C., brings up all of the teams. Like, the Eagles are bona fide Super Bowl contenders. The Phillies are bona fide World Series contenders. The Sixers have now put themselves much more into the conversation for the NBA Finals, or at least to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, which we haven't seen in a long, long time as well. And the Flyers are a team that is on the up and up that I don't know that you could call them true championship contenders right now. That's probably hasty, but they're heading in such a positive direction.
They're not a contender for a championship.
But you can be just as positive about where that team's heading as the others in
Flyers
town.
Twitter won't be.
Wow.
Just so you know, Flyers Twitter won't be. So just hang out with people who know hockey, and they will tell you that the Flyers are in a good position. Because just yesterday, poking around the NHL, the people were freaked out that Danny Briere was saying there could be a step back next year. And people were losing their minds. Like, oh, my gosh, we can't have that. You can't step back. And people around the league are very, very positive on where the Flyers are.
Yeah.
as far as their rebuild.
We'll leave Flyers Twitter to Flyers
Yes,
Twitter. They can
please.
handle that themselves.
They're
Now,
pretty negative people.
for the Eagles to get to where they need to go, there may have to be some guys stepping up that you don't typically think of when you think of this team. Some depth players that could be put into pivotal roles this year. And Andrew DiCecco just worked on something on this recently. You could check out his work, or you could just not turn the dial because he's going to tell us about it right now. So who are some of the names we need to have an eye on?
Yeah, so as you guys know, I constantly think about the Eagles, and one night I was thinking about the roster, and there's no shortage of star power. But we're constantly reminded, look at the course of an NFL season, how you need contributions from every corner of the roster. And so I started thinking, which players on the Eagles are most important from a depth perspective? So there's two offensive players. For me, Drew Kendall, the second-year offensive lineman out of Boston College. He's stepping into a role that was previously held by Brett Toth. And Brett Toth played a career-high 363 snaps last year, starting games at center and guard. And when you look at the health concerns, perhaps, with Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson, all of a sudden, Drew Kendall, who's only played 89 NFL snaps, is someone who could be called upon to take on a much larger role this year. So he would be one for me. And then on the other offensive player would be offensive tackle Fred Johnson, who has been called on to start 14 games over the past 2 seasons at left and right tackle. And he, in my estimation, is one of the better reserve tackles in football. Frankly, I was surprised that he didn't command more interest on the open market, or at least a team willing to bring him in to challenge for a starting spot. But when you look at what he provides and the Eagles' lack of experience from the reserve offensive line perspective, he gives you some stability there. And someone who is, when Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata are healthy, the swing tackle on game days. So those are the two players from the offensive side.
Now, those guys, if correct me if I'm wrong, seem more health-related, like where the focus is on them. You always need depth on the offensive line because those guys get banged up. And for the Eagles, what we saw last year, health was a big part of the equation. Defense, they've got a lot of young players that are in starting roles that have been remarkably durable. So I'm interested in where you go on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, defensive side, you don't often hear this player's name, but Byron Young is someone that I thought did a really nice job stepping in when Jalen Carter had to miss a 3-game stretch there late in the year. He played 338 snaps, had 2.5 sacks over that span, and when Jalen Carter wasn't participating in team drills in the spring, it was Byron Young who filled in with the first team. So Jalen Carter has played 84% of the defensive snaps the past 2 seasons. There's been a lot of mileage on him. So if you're looking to maybe scale it back a little bit, lighten the load, Byron Young is someone who would stand to benefit most from that. And Vic Fangio, who calls him BY, seems to like him a little bit. So Byron Young would be one for me. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., the Eagles' third-year linebacker, is another player that he hasn't played all that much on defense, just 192 snaps over his first 2 seasons. But he is someone that whenever he's been given the opportunity, and namely in training camp, he's checked off a lot of boxes. Makes up for the lack of prototypical athleticism that you like to see from a second-level player, with instincts, with just always being assignment sound, being in the right place at the right time. And the Eagles are well-positioned if Jahad Campbell's shoulder injuries continue to maybe manifest a little bit. That's where Jeremiah Trotter Jr. could step in. I think on a lot of teams, he would be a starter. And in Philadelphia, had they not had such a logjam of talent at that position, he's probably a starter here as well.
Did you just say Philadelphia and logjam of talent at the linebacker position?
Yeah, it did.
I can't believe we're there.
And it's been a change. It's been a change. And do you think in one of the there's not a ton of new faces on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah.
But do you think that Vic Fangio's the kind of guy that just tweaks what they've done? Or do you think there could be some mild reinvention as far as some of these guys that he likes getting more involved in the game plan, getting more involved in what they do, that maybe we see some little wrinkles in what the Eagles do? Or is it just going to be more of what they do, just better executed?
Well, I think you'll see some different wrinkles because when you add someone like Arik Woolen, who is brought in to solidify that second spot, that there's been a lot of turbulence at that spot opposite Quinyon Mitchell. They toggled between Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo last year, and I think to a degree, John, it restricted what Vic Fangio is able to do from a personnel standpoint, from a creativity standpoint, and now all of a sudden You add that into the mix. You add Cooper DeJean when the Eagles are in base, moving to safety, and all of a sudden you're able to be multiple. You're able to deploy players in a different way and add some different wrinkles. And you couple that with renewed health from Jalen Carter, Jonathan Grenard off the edge, who I think is a more accomplished, just a better pure pass rusher than Jalen Phillips. And the other player on my list, guys, was Jonathan Jones, the veteran corner who the Eagles signed to a one-year deal.
That was under the radar a little.
Yeah, he can play any position on the back end. So he kind of reminds me of an Isaiah Rodgers, although Isaiah Rodgers wasn't able to play safety like he can. He comes in with an extensive resume. He's versed in different systems. He's played in 8 playoff games. And all of a sudden, you now have a buffer where if an injury should arise, you don't necessarily have to tap back into the Keely Ringos or the Jacorian Bennettts of the world. Now you have a capable veteran who gives you a little bit more stability.
I need people to understand how important this is, because I think some people will hear you talk about the depth pieces and be like, why do I care about player number X on the 53-man roster? 2017, 2018, they win that Super Bowl with a backup tackle and a guy at corner and Patrick Robinson, talking about Halapoulivaati Vaitai there, and a guy at Patrick Robinson who barely made the team out of camp that had one of the biggest plays of that run. When they won in 2024, you had a rookie that started the season injured that had a pick 6 in that Super Bowl. And by the way, another guy with an interception was a dude you got off a New Orleans scrap heap in Zach Bond.
Well, how about Oren Burks?
Another great one. Stepping up huge in that because Nakobe Dean, of course, going down in the Packers game. These guys don't matter until they matter, to use one of John Kincaid's favorite terms.
Are you going to keep using that when I leave?
I might have to keep that one alive
please,
for you.
Please do. Keep
These
that
are
alive.
off-season thoughts, but it is relevant when you think of the Eagles perhaps embody the next man mentality better than or as much as any team in the NFL, and it's something that I was kicking around the other day.
Other teams say it. The Eagles do use it. They've shown it.
They also prepare these players for these moments. So
yes.
I thought it was something worth mentioning as you're looking about how this roster comes together and how these different pieces fit.
So when Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is taking one back to the house, pick 6 in the Super Bowl this year for the Eagles to win their 3rd title, you could say Andrew DeCecco brought it up first. That's some great stuff on the Birds. Now, we've got a conversation on Zach Wheeler that we're going to get into next. And also, it's a busy 4th of July weekend here in the greater Philadelphia area. We'll take a look at what the big sports scene is going to be like as we reach the weekend of the semi-quincentennial. Did I say that right? Yeah, Johnny's giving me the point.
Did.
I got it.
Good job.
We'll talk about that next year on Kincade Salciunas 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. 250 years ago.
song. And this Saturday's 4th of July.
Yes, it is.
So it actually is the 4th of July.
This is Peter Cetera?
It is, well, Chicago.
Yeah, but it's
Peter
it's-
Cetera.
He's singing this one. Yeah.
This was this song. I was shocked this morning. It came out when I was in first grade.
I
This
think
is
I
an
have
oldie but a goodie.
I think I have this album.
I hope you do as a music aficionado.
Yeah, I'm a big Chicago guy.
You should be.
Every day feels like a holiday when your team does what the Philadelphia 76ers did yesterday. Now, Saturday is actually a holiday.
And it is 4th of July.
Weekend. It's going to be an incredible weekend here in Philadelphia.
Awesome.
We've got a little breakdown for you coming up in just a little bit, but we've got to get our final numbers on our Twitter poll today, brought to you by Dr. Avidan Appel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. I told you earlier, I don't think anybody in Philadelphia this morning necessarily needed the help with Doc, but if you ever do, he's there for you, and he keeps the Twitter poll strong all 4 hours. What do we have, Austin?
Alrighty, so today's Twitter poll, do you believe the Sixers trade for Jaylen Brown is the greatest trade in Philadelphia sports history? Staying strong all throughout the morning was a solid no at 60% and yes at 40%.
I can tell you that, and I love our listeners, love you all. I can't tell you how wrong you were. Because the trades that were being tossed out there, like the T.O. trade, the Eagles were Super Bowl contenders and were Super Bowl right there, like on the verge of it before they got T.O. The Phillies, it's like you can't toss anything out there. They were already there. The Sixers became relevant overnight. Overnight.
You know what's funny? I count that actually as a win for the idea that it is the biggest trade in Philadelphia sports history. The reason why is anytime you ask one of those like hyperbolic questions,
right?
The greatest this, the greatest player, the greatest moment, and you ask about something that's currently happened or just recently happened, I think it's very rare that you even see 40% of people on the side that might have been the greatest we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. This is the greatest because it took a franchise from championship irrelevance. When I say irrelevance, not irrelevance, championship irrelevance to relevance. There you go.
Now, well, we've got to see how they execute on it still, and I think that's where a lot of people are at.
No other trade in Philadelphia history that I know of, and if you got one, text it in, took a team from championship irrelevance to relevance.
And that's what you got with the Jaylen Brown trade for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh, this is so awesome.
Now, coming up this weekend, you're going to see, well, at least today, the round out of the Phillies series with the Pirates. Zach Wheeler didn't have his best start last night.
Not at all.
Pulled a little bit early in the game, some might have thought. And, Johnny, you brought this up earlier because
he's pissed.
Yeah, Wheeler talked after the game about being taken out when he was, and he might have his sights set on the manager a little bit. Here's what Wheeler said.
I was upset. Getting taken out of the game.
You'd like to finish fine?
Obviously, yeah. I feel like I've earned that.
Talk to Don on it?
Nope.
Will you?
I don't know.
I can tell you, and I know for a fact, I can speak for a fact, that Game 6 of the World Series, when Zach Wheeler was taken out, that took, I was told, fence mending between him and Rob Thompson. He was so pissed off that it took mending of fences for their relationship. This is a supreme competitor. A regular season game probably won't do that.
Yeah.
But there was no reason to take him out last night. None. He should have pitched in that. He should have stayed in that game.
Yeah, that was mismatched.
It's Zach Wheeler.
And he has every right to be.
I think over management was the way I was looking at it.
That's what I would say. It's interesting because at some point the manager does get to say, and as a player, you have to respect the decision that a guy makes who has taken over this ball club and has put them in position or been part of them being put into position to be one of the top teams in the sport. I think Zach will get over it. I think he has a right to be upset in the moment. I don't believe this is something that'll linger as long as Don Mattingly has a reasoning as to why he did it.
Well, Don Mattingly better handle that.
I'm sure he will.
And by the way,
don't let it fester.
I think Zach Wheeler, though, and he's supposedly a good man. I don't know him personally, so he's a good man. If he's a good man, he marches himself into Don Mattingly's office today, and they close the door, and they handle that publicly. I think that Zach Wheeler handled that poorly last night. That's not how you handle it.
Yeah.
That's how about I will talk to my manager about it.
I'll give him some grace because we have not heard anything really ever publicly from Zach Wheeler. Positive, negative, whatever.
Well,
the guy doesn't talk. So
no, exactly. But I think that was handled poorly.
Yeah.
That was an internal discussion that it fed a fire.
Now,
he could have handled that better.
Here's the good
I
thing.
agree.
The fact that it was said publicly means that they're going to have that conversation. There's no way to avoid it.
Yeah,
Don
but it's an
Mattingly-
under duress conversation where it puts Don Mattingly in a bad light. He didn't do his manager any favors by doing that.
No, he didn't. But I don't care what gets you to the table as long as you get up, shake hands, and walk away from the table in a good enough spot to continue. And I think they will. That's something to keep an eye on. We'll see if there's more said about it. And I'm sure Don Mattingly will be asked today. They've got a day game against the Pirates. I'm sure he'll be asked ahead of it.
Nasty.
12:35.
Are you kidding me?
At
You're gonna-
103 degrees or whatever it's
like,
going
are
to
you
be.
kidding me? Like, and by the way, it's kids' camp day today. All the summer camps.
Yeah.
Where they come out to the game and they bring up the school buses and the kids. It's going to be nasty.
Yeah, buy them some ice cream. They'll be all right.
By the way, great job by the Dasani bottlers. Every single person coming into the ballpark is getting free water.
Oh, that's awesome.
That would cost you normally, I believe, $4 or $3.50. Everybody coming
That's
in
great.
is getting a bottle of water. And then you can take it to a thing and fill it yourself if you want. So everybody's getting a bottle of water. The Phillies just do things right.
They absolutely
and that's
do.
very well done.
Minus the Ghost Energy deck, but we don't need to go back to that
they didn't do
conversation.
that. They didn't do that right.
The other things you have going on, you have a World Cup game here in Philly at the Link on Saturday, Philadelphia Stadium, as they call it.
I hate that crap.
France is going to be facing Paraguay. Now, if you're a big USA fan, this will be interesting. France getting knocked out is something that any team who thinks they can win should be rooting for because that team is unbelievable. Paraguay just beat Germany.
I couldn't find Paraguay on a map, but I will root like hell for them.
It's down there in South America. It's right by Uruguay.
And well, there you go. I wouldn't even know that. I would like to heckle the hell out of France, though.
That's what I'm
love
interested in.
I hope that the fans are giving them the business. Everybody that should be a Paraguay home game.
But you have that going on. You have a bunch of great events in the city, parades and the like. There are going to be a lot of.
Did your town
tourists.
have a parade?
No, Hainsport has like 12 people in it.
See, I feel like out of nostalgia, I usually go see Chief Dan's parade over in Bryn Mawr. But
Westchester does something, right?
Westchester does one, but I almost out of nostalgia want to go back my street, South Malin Road in Broomall, go see the Broomall parade. I almost want out of nostalgia before leaving. I want to go see that.
Yeah, if we had a parade in Hainsport, there would be nobody to watch it because everybody who lives in the town would have to be in it. So we will not.
Well, you went to like
Philadelphia
Little
will.
House on the Prairie School.
Yeah, that was in Mount Laurel, but yeah, a small town where I'm from in South Jersey. The Phillies will then head to Kansas City for a series over the weekend, so they'll be out of town but still playing. And we're going to be thinking, we just mentioned parade a couple of times, let your mind wander this weekend. Will we see one for the Sixers? Well, the Jaylen Brown trade makes that at least a glimmer in your eye as we head into Independence Day weekend.
Happy birthday,
it's been
America.
a fun time. Thank you, Andrew, for checking in.
Andrew.
As
My
always,
pleasure. Yep.
thank you to everybody supporting us this week. Salciunas will be back on Monday. John and I are both off tomorrow, so enjoy your holiday weekend. Middays with Marks comes your way next to react to the Jaylen Brown trade. I can imagine that John Marks and Sean Brace are going to be fired up, so don't go anywhere. They're on after us here on The Fanatic.